Yeah, Prophet Marshall Occurrence. So this video is gonna be really straight to the point. You know, it's gotta be God's will, not our will be done. Because I'm gonna tell you what most of y'all gonna do. You gonna continue to want America to survive, and you're gonna want America to strive, and you're gonna want America to make it. But if that's not God's will, it's not God's will. It's not about hate. It's not about being angry. It comes a time of judgment and in war. And it's just what it is determined to be. And it's just no way around it. Okay? Like, people thought they was gonna use these gangs or these wannabe gangs against us, and they're not really a gang, but they want to act like they're a gang in the present time we live in. It's over. It's over for them. See, for me, I'm gonna just speak for me. From this day forward, man, I'm not giving any mercy. I'm not giving any mercy. Mercy is out the question. It's out of the question. I'm not giving no mercy. And this is what separates warriors from those who are just manipulated by religion. I'm a Christian, but I'm not a religious person. So at some point, God says it's wartime. It's not forgiveness time. It's not trying to talk to anybody anymore. It's not that time anymore. We already proved we got a heart. I already proved I got a heart. I proved to myself first. You prove things to yourself first. I know I got a heart. It's not up for debate. I know for myself, okay? So it's not a matter of being heartless. What it's a matter of is people playing the same corny games, and they don't think nothing gonna happen. They like to poke the bear to see what kind of response they can get and what kind of attention they can get, and that's all they're after. They do things for attention. They say it out their own mouth. Okay, but we're not feeding into it. What we're gonna do, our response to that is going to be no mercy. So when we start winning, because it comes to a point where we start winning again, and they'll start running over here. Don't come back over here. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. You couldn't get control of the Americans. We're gonna do that now, and we're gonna do it by spiritual means. We're not intimidated by anybody that sits back and think that you can't hate America and be here. We listen. Long as we ain't doing no physical operations, we can hate this country all we want. Hate is basically summed up as an emotion. You can't make people leave your country because of an emotion. Where would we be today if everybody had to leave based on the emotions of this incompetent community, in this incompetent government and administration? Where would we be today if everybody had to leave based on the hate and emotion? So you don't let people bully you or intimidate you and make you feel like you can't hate this country. You can hate this country as long as you don't. You can have even hate speech as long as it's not threats in the hate speech. Just like if the police was in front of you, you could say whatever you want to another person, and if you could tell them you hate them, the police can't do nothing about that. You could say, I hate this person, right in front of the police. Police can't do nothing. The hate speech, the worst part of hate speech is I hate you, right? Okay, so you can say you hate somebody right in their face. The police can't arrest you for that. Now, when you communicate threats, right, the police can arrest you, okay? Because you're saying what you intend to do. See, I know the law, okay? So it's the same thing with America. As long as you ain't communicating physical threats, you can say whatever you want, and they can't arrest you, just like they can't arrest you If you saying you hate somebody right in front of the police, they can't do nothing about that. They can't do a thing about it. Okay? You don't let people bully you into where you can't say you hate this country. If you hate this country, you hate this country. Okay? Because they brought the hate on themselves. It's reasons. It's legitimate reasons to hate these people. You know what I'm saying? So you don't let people control you and walk around and make you see what I'm saying? They make you a docile animal set up for the kill. That's all they do. This country has proven even if you have love in your heart, they will kill you with love in your heart. They will attack you with love in your heart. Just now, I just got attacked while I'm thinking about Jesus. I'm thinking about Jesus as a baby and everything that he went through and everything. These psychological gang stalkers decide to attack me while I'm doing that. Okay, so then listen, man, listen. Everybody already see I got a heart, right? That's all that. Listen, it's forward march. That's gonna make me more powerful in war because now that I've expressed my love for Jesus and my heart for Jesus, I'm refreshed in my war. You know what I'm saying? I'm refreshed in my cause, and God is standing with me presently, like never before. Okay, see, there's people that fight for this country and they call themselves Christians and they're not really with us. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta accept that. Just because they named the name of Jesus and they don't even got the love for Jesus. They don't cry for Jesus. I cry for Jesus. I don't even cry for myself. But love will make you cry. You know what I'm saying? The love in my heart for Jesus, I cry for Jesus. I don't even cry for myself. I don't cry for nothing I go through. I'm a hardened soldier. I'm a very hardened soldier. And many of y'all are Play-Doh playing with a hardened soldier. I'm a very hardened soldier. I don't cry for nothing but Jesus and love. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all I cry for. I don't cry because I'm broken. I cry because of love. You know what I'm saying? I don't cry because I'm ever broken. I cry out of love. Tenderness of love. But it's people that take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? You know, and we're right back on it. You know what I'm saying? We're not changed. That love is still in my heart. That's what's going to motivate me. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't got to cry forever. You know, for every moment. I had my tender moment right just a minute ago. And I'm right back on it. You know what I'm saying? Refreshed in my love for God. Refreshed in my cause. See, we ain't gonna let people act like they fighting against us and they're not, and they ain't showing no signs of doing anything worthwhile to me. Listen, somebody putting a disease in your body, a bum could do that. You know, that ain't no sign of no warriors. That's a bum. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about that. Look, we are at war with the United States of America. Okay? And as long as you don't have a physical operation to do against the community or against the buildings or against any official or any American citizen, you listen, you can say you're at war, and as long as that's not defined physically, it's nothing they can do about it. Okay, they can't. If you tell them I don't have any physical operations in my heart, I don't have any physical operations that I'm going to do. This is why you don't play with spiritual people, because we can get this done without any physical operations. And I'm going to just look at you and smile at you, because I know I don't got no physical operations. I know just how to talk to the feds. Feds come bust in the door. I tell you, listen, man, I ain't got no physical operations. Well, we heard you was an enemy of America. Okay, well, I can be an enemy of America. I can say that as long as I don't have any physical operations. Because you can't redefine my definition or what I'm doing as a physical operation. That's what you're trying to insinuate. It's no physical operations. I wouldn't even do a physical operation. It can't compare to what we doing to you. So I can sit up there and tell them in their face just like that. And we got real information on you marrying children. We could say we're your enemies because you marry children. I could leave you right there. You accused me of all this crazy stuff, this goofy stuff, but then we find you marrying children, so I can say I'm your enemy. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm serious. I can say I'm your enemy based on you marrying children and accusing me. So then I define what that means as an enemy, not you. You yeah, see that part. I define what me being your enemy consists of, not you. See, some people think as soon as you hear enemy, oh, that means I'm gonna go out here and jump out here with an AK-47. Okay, that's you. If you're simple-minded like that, I choose to oppose you in different ways besides physical operations, and I'm still gonna be effective. Yeah. Okay, I'm not stupid enough to incriminate myself and tell you to go do a physical operation against America. I ain't gonna never incite anybody to do that. But I'm gonna incite you to be there, to oppose these people and to separate yourself from these people. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a crime. It's not a crime for you to separate and oppose these people and you don't have physical operations. You can oppose people without physical operations. See how I clarified all of that? Because they'll line you up and make you fearful for even saying you're their enemy. They can't do nothing to you from saying that. You could say you could say I'm the enemy of America. You could say that. As long as your operations of being an enemy is not physical. You see what I'm saying? There's many opponents of America. There's many enemies of America. But are they out here going to war with America physically? No. You got political enemies. You got all kind of different type of enemies. And as long as you don't do anything physical, Trump got enemies in politics. But they can't go arrest somebody who say I'm a political enemy of Trump. They can't get arrested because you say I'm a political enemy. So you define who you are as an enemy. You don't let them act like, oh, just because you oppose America, you pose a threat, a physical threat. See, we make clowns out of these suckers. Do I pose a physical threat where I'm physically gonna go be out here? No. No, buddy. I'm educated. I'm not a dumb black man. I ain't gonna let you snare me into saying I'm gonna come out here with some physical operations and go do something to America and all of that. That ain't even effective anyway. That's why I wouldn't do it. Okay? So you ain't gonna ever catch me slipping out here talking about, oh, yeah, go do something to America, go do something. Nah, I ain't gonna never do that. I'm not stupid. I can talk to the CIA in their face and tell them, listen, man, you ain't got no physical operations. This is over. This is over. You can go through my phone, you can go through my videos, you will not find me in any form or fashion. You can go through all my documents and you ain't gonna find no physical operation where I said I'm gonna do this physically to America. I'm commanding somebody else to do something physically to America. See, I got all my ducks in a row, you don't. And the main reason I can say, and this is the truth, that you're my enemy because you accused me of something you couldn't prove, and then we find you was guilty of the same thing. For me personally, that's what makes you my enemy. Besides all the other little goofy stuff, you are my enemy as Americans for playing with my integrity, and then we find out you're marrying children in America. That makes you my enemy, right or wrong. Absolutely. Absolutely. See, you're dealing with a grown man with a full deck. I got all my mental faculties. All my mental faculties are good. I take my vitamins, so I'm tip-top. That might sound funny to you, but I take vitamins. So my mind is tip-top, buddy. I'm primed. I'm always primed. Anybody part of me, you take vitamins every day. Because you get up with this warfare, they're going to attack your mind. Your mind going to be stronger when you got your vitamins. They don't want you to know that. Your mental capacity to handle stress and war is going to be more strong when you got vitamins, you got everything you need. That's why I got my vitamins right here. And got the magnesium. See, that's the main thing. This is what you need. If you don't get nothing else, you get this magnesium. This is from CVS. You can see magnesium, 500 milligrams, one pill. This is what you get. when you go into war. You don't go to war out here with no vitamins. You wake up with no taking no vitamins and you in war. You go to when it's wartime, you get vitamins. You hear what I said? When it's wartime, you get vitamins. So you have all your faculties. You ain't groggy. You ain't foggy. You know what I'm saying? You clear in mind. You know the difference between your thoughts and their thoughts. So if you ain't taking all your vitamin stuff, and they playing psychological games, you gonna start gaslighting yourself. Think about it. You in psychological war. You need you need your faculties to be strong. So you taking vitamins. You'll find all these preachers and people talking. Nobody talking about taking vitamins. I'm showing you what you gotta get. You know what I'm saying? When you go through this war, you don't go through this war without no vitamins. It's not for kids, it's for grown people. You know what I mean? It's not something for kids per se. We have to take these vitamins so you have all your strength. Okay? This is wartime. This is our enemy. America's the enemy. Okay, and like we said, if they want to press us about it, you let them know I don't have any physical operations, but you are my enemy. I don't have no the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, black people considered Americans their enemy. Right or wrong. Going back to the beginning, Malcolm X considered America his enemy. You could say Farrakhan considered America his enemy. But as long as you don't have no physical operation, see, for the most docile of you and the softest of you, you let them bully you into feeling like you can't stand in a position of being their enemy. That's how they get you. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you don't got, all you got to explain is, I have no intentions of going out here physically harming anybody. So then I can say whatever I want to say. I can say whatever, I can do whatever I want to do and say whatever I want to say, and ain't nothing you can do about it. I guarantee you ain't gonna have no charges, and you ain't gonna change my mentality. All they trying to do is break you into not thinking that way, and they can't stop you as a grown man or woman from thinking that way. If they're the enemy and you see them, listen, I could say you chose to be my enemy by opposing me. So because you're my enemy doesn't mean it's because of me, it's because of you. You opposed me, right? So then you're my enemy. Make sense? You're my enemy because you opposed me. See, some people are just not that bright, bro. They project it, but they not. Okay, so I don't determine necessarily that you're my enemy by what I do or how I even feel. You could determine that I make you my enemy. It could be because of what you did. It could be because of what you're doing. All the gang stalking, all the conspiracy, all the playing games, you're my enemy, man. That's all there is to it. And listen, I talk to the CIA, I talk to the FBI, I talk to your president in his face, and I tell him like this: as long as you don't see me have no physical operations, you gotta kick rocks, you gotta get lost. Ain't nothing you can do. You can sit here and question me all day. You can give me a million questionnaires. And listen, as long as I don't have physical operations, I can answer those questions and how I feel. As long as I don't incite nobody else to hurt an American, or I don't physically hurt an American myself, ain't nothing you can do. That's why they got to use psychological games, because they know that. They already know that. If we incriminated ourselves and said we got physical operations against America, then they would have been got us up off the streets. They would have been sent to feds. Pay attention. That's all they do. They go watch social media. They watch all this stuff. As soon as you incriminate yourself, they're going to come at your door. So you think I'm stupid enough to do that? Come on, man. You should have knew with my reputation, I ain't going to listen. You underestimated me, buddy. Well, it was the baby face, wasn't it? It was the baby face, wasn't it? I've had a real military man tell other people, don't let the baby face fool you. Talking about me. The baby face fooled you, didn't it? I've had military say that he knew I was dangerous. He knew I was dangerous a long time ago. He said, don't let the baby face fool you, buddy. People can see it. Some people can see it's your full potential. You're nothing to play with, buddy. I'm one of those people. But what makes me more dangerous is you ain't gonna find no physical operations on me, and I'm gonna talk how I want to talk, and I'm gonna walk how I want to walk. And then, listen, and you ain't gonna never find me ever making a physical threat against America, because I don't. That's not how we move. We're spiritual people, true spiritual people. That's why we put all the other religions to shame, because eventually they're gonna try to do something physically to you. I'm not saying I'm telling them to do it. But that's what the history shows us. They wind up doing something physically to you. I don't have to do that. That's how we blow them out the water. All the other people, all the other religions, they see who America is. They want to do something to them. Listen, I ain't going to do it that way. I'm going to do it spiritual because I'm spiritual. Ain't nothing you can do. Ain't nothing you can do. That's why they got to play psychological games. That's why they got to play these games with us, because otherwise, what they going to do? Well, he talking about, talking. I can do a lot of talking. I got freedom of speech in this country. And you need to start talking about that. Trump was just mocking the Constitution. With the woman, what's her name? You know I'm talking about, the Somalian woman, the Somalis woman. He said she bringing up her constitutional rights, and he was mocking it. She's talking about her constitutional rights. That's right. That's absolutely right. That's how you play it. You don't let these see slowly but surely Trump is trying to act like these things don't apply. Nothing that y'all talking about apply. The laws, criminal laws, criminal war crimes, slowly but surely they trying to get their own way of doing things. The freedom to do things their own way. Besides the Constitution and the legalities of things, right? And you got to check them. See, this is why you got to check them. See, a black man is all about checking people in our culture. It means you put everything in proper perspective. You expose people for who they are. You correct people. In essence, you correct people. That's what checking is. You know what I'm saying? You correct people. You know what I'm saying? You correct them. That's right. You out here acting like mocking the Constitution, and she talking about her constitutional right. That's exactly what she's supposed to talk about. That's exactly what she's supposed to talk about. Because if she don't talk about it for America, remember, all she got to do is present that to the UN. That's all she got to do. I already went to the UN. See, listen, man. Let me say something. Back in May this year, before we was even at a half-a-year mark in spring, I went and filed a complaint with the UN about all these Freemasons and secret societies out here. I already put a complaint in to the UN. I'm just letting you know. That's why it might be a little funny out there to you, because I already put a real complaint. I got a number. I got the complaint number and everything. You ain't dealing with no dummy, buddy. I did what Malcolm X did. That Malcolm X went to the UN about how America was treating black people. You don't sit around and wait for these white people in America to help you and act like they're your only source of help. You follow the chain of command, and finally people are doing that. Finally, black people are doing it. But you could have been done it looking at Malcolm X. Malcolm X was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. He went to the UN and everything. That's why I got respect for him. He didn't just sit back like some threat, like people try to act like he was. He used the proper protocol. You gotta respect that. He ain't incite no people to fight America physically and all of that. He went to the UN. That's what you do. He didn't rally black people up together. That's how they insinuate Malcolm X was rallying black people up physically against America. But then you see he did the proper thing by going to the UN and filing a complaint. That's what he was in the process of doing. He didn't go to black people. He didn't go to white people. See, that's what you do. You go run to black people. What they gonna do? At best, they gonna try to, do what they can. But that's it. That's all they gonna do. They can't really do nothing. You gotta pose a threat of, we'll go to the UN. Because as soon as they start using these white police and all of that kind of stuff, listen. Once you realize if you're a high target in this situation as a spiritual warrior, If you see any police in your path, you might as well go to the UN. It ain't no help. Ain't no help coming. They gonna manipulate all this stuff. That's the Freemason police. The Freemason police, if you don't know, that's the main ones they're using out there to patrol and to watch us and to play psychological games with the sirens and the sound campaigns. That's who's doing all the sirens and playing all the games. That's all either Freemason police or Freemason agents that work for Freemason police, okay? Using ambulances, police cars, all of that. That's all them. They trying to, when you leave out the room, then you come in the room and there's a siren, they trying to trigger you. You leave out the room, then just coincidentally, this the same pattern of them sounding sirens to try to bring you under submission. That's how you know they think you got low psychology. I don't got my, listen, you can't bring me under no submission with some sirens. Not a man of my level, buddy. You can't bring me under no submission with no sirens. Hey, they think you're gonna be brought under submission by some sirens. It don't do nothing to me. Oh, you thought I was autistic, so a lot of strong noise would make me go crazy. Well, you know they say autistic people get startled or aggravated with noise. But I'm a musician, so imagine that. Hey, you thought I was autistic, didn't you? No, I'm black and Asian. I'm part Asian. You didn't know I was Asian, did you? So it's kind of racist because I didn't act like a normal black guy or a normal white guy, and I'm kind of mixed up, you know, because I'm black and Asian. You thought I was autistic. But now you see me differently, don't you? Well, when you realize I'm Asian, I'm part Filipino. I'm black and Filipino, right? Okay, so now you see me clearly, don't you? No, seriously though. Like some people, if they don't know what kind of ethnicities you have in you, they'll think you're retarded according to a certain race. Well, he doesn't act like a black guy because I'm not totally black. Well, he doesn't act like a white guy. Well, I'm obviously not totally white. But I am part English. I'm part English too. Some people are not English. I'm part English. Okay, so you know, so I'm part English, Latinos, Peruvian, Asian, Filipino, and 4 different types of African. Okay, like so that's why you read me wrong, because you thought I was supposed to act like a normal, like a everyday black guy, and I can't act like an everyday black guy because I got 11 bloodlines. So I know myself. See, this is why it's important. I can't stress this enough for you to go and do the DNA test. Because so you can know who you are, so you can stop letting people misdiagnose you and act like something's wrong with you according to being a white American or a black American. You're not normal. You're for every day, you know. If you got 11 bloodlines, I'm part Filipino, everything like that. So I don't supposed to act like a normal black guy. Not totally. Even though I'm from the South, that's what puts me in this, that's what fools people. Because then you expect, okay, he's Southern, he black, but he don't act all the way black, but he act real black. But I'm part Filipino. I'm part Asian. I didn't know I was Asian. You know what I'm saying? But I am. So, you know, and if you don't know about the Filipinos, their ancestors are the Chinese. So that means, well, that's kind of obvious. I mean, well, how did Asian people get on the island of the Philippines? From migrating from China. That's common sense. Just like the Vietnamese and all of that, probably all of their ancestors are from China. That's just common sense. Just like the Jamaicans and everything, their ancestors are from Africa. That's common sense, right? So you see all these Asian people, where you think they came from? China. That's common sense. So I'm part basically Chinese. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, okay, now you know that about me. So then, and I did my research to make sure if you're part Filipino, you know, what tribe do you come from of Asian? I wanted to check, and it's Chinese. So there you go. There you have it. You know, so you know that. So that's why they didn't see me the right way the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm part Chinese through being Filipino and black. I'm not trying to make it that way. It is what it is. That's my DNA. Okay, some people think that you're saying that because you don't want to be black. No, I'm saying that because it's the truth. I'm saying that so that people can see me clearly for who I am. You know what I'm saying? Now you see what I'm saying. Now you can see me more clearly. Now it makes sense. Okay, he do kind of seem kind of Asian. He do seem, okay, I get it. And I'm part South Asian too. All in one. Which means I'm part Indian. From India. Like, so my ancestors came from India too. So when you see all of that about me, it all makes sense, right? Right. But if you try to see me like just a guy that just have a couple African bloodlines, you're going to be misled. Then you're going to expect me to act a certain way. My vibration to be a certain way according to a guy with 2 or 3 bloodlines of African. But my vibration is different. Okay? That's what I'm saying. So, see, that's why I say, man, you can't read a book by its cover. You got to let people tell you who they are. You know, don't try to assume you know. Now you know I'm part Asian, Filipino, South Asian, you know, Indian. You know, I can talk intelligently about who I am. I'm part Latino, Peruvian, from Peru. You know, so it's not a game. You know what I'm saying? It really isn't. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's like, with a person like me and my bloodlines, I'm not going to sit up here and play games with people. If they want to be enemies, then we're going to be enemies to the death. That's it. That's all there is to it. I don't play cartoon games. I'm not built like that. You play with me, listen, when the pressure comes down on it, when that hammer comes down and the pressure comes down, don't come over here. That's all I'm asking. Stay right over there. Cause listen, this is the calm before the storm. I done send money to Africa. It's gonna get there tomorrow. It's gonna get there tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, see, that's the beauty of the situation. With all my bloodlines, I got covered over with North Carolina, so that's what made me real soulful with that, and I'm part Filipino and black and, you know, South Italian too. You know, that's what makes it real cool, because once I was born in North Carolina, now it's a coating on me that you can't really even see all my bloodlines, you know what I'm saying, from being from North Carolina. You can't really see them. So you're going to just think, oh, this is a black dude, it's a cool black dude. I'm glad you think that. I'm glad you think that, but that's not the fullness of who I am. That's all I'm saying. So, but, yeah, you know, I just like, you know, when people want to play games and act like it's a game, okay, we can do it. You know what I'm saying? But when the pressure is on, when the real pressure is on, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I just sent money to Kenya. You know what I'm saying? Because I got ancestors over there with the Maasai tribe, the Maasai tribe, right? That's over there in Kenya. You know, so I found a church, a Christian church over there in Kenya, and that money should get there tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be thousands of dollars in Africa that I done sent. You know what I'm saying? We're not playing no games. That's going to hit tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? See, so why they thought it was all good, it's not. You know what this piece is? Because now my money is over there in Africa. That's why I got love. I got me a good cry out. You know what I'm saying? Because God's power is shedding on my heart. You know what I'm saying? But then, you know, it's down to earth. It's still these people that's playing around, utilizing their kids, weaponizing their kids in psychological games like we stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying other people are stupid. But me being part Asian, you think you're going to get something past me? I'm part Asian. You think you're a dopey American, right? You're a dopey American, right? You think you're going to get something past me? You're out your mind. I know every little game you play. And I do equate that to my different bloodlines, because just like you have endowment in different areas, you know, Asian people are very endowed mentally. And that's facts. And I can't make everybody equal, because other people are endowed in other places. And we don't try to make them people equal with them. Okay? Black people, black men are endowed sexually. That's facts. I'm just being real. Okay, so I can't make Asians just as endowed as a black man physically, sexually. It is what it is. We accept that reality. Okay, just like the reality that Asian men are very more endowed than many black men. That's the truth. That's the truth. And you're not offended. And if you're offended with that, you're offended with reality. Because no one sits up and try to make black men and other men equal physically as far as endowment, right? Okay, so I'm not going to do it mentally when I can clearly see signs that Asians are smarter than black and white people. They smarter than both of you. They smarter than both. That's facts. How I know? Look at all that technology and stuff they got over here. They got flying cars, for crying out loud now. They're smarter than you. That's what it is. So with that being said, you know, I'm part Asian. You ain't getting nothing past me, buddy. You playing yourself. You playing yourself, buddy. That's that. You know, I celebrate the endowment in everybody in different areas. You know what I'm saying? You can see endowment in creativity, endowment in music. You see endowment in people's mind. But I can't make everybody equal to black people. To say if black people don't lack something, then if these people don't, then I can't say that. But then we say it for everything else. When we show that black people are endowed culturally, musically, you know, we don't try to make Asians feel like they make songs and music like we do. So I ain't gonna make dumb Asians down like they just like you mentally. They not. That's why they got different martial arts and everything. You can talk about everything else, but we bite. This is my point. The Asians were emulated before everybody else, before hip hop and all that came along. Through martial arts, all these black people and white people wanted to be martial artsmen and do different forms of martial arts. So when you go back in decades, we emulated. While everybody say people want to be like black people, y'all want to be like Asians first. By arts and cultures. We eat their food, stuff you take for granted. They don't eat our food. Chinese people don't really eat our food. No, they don't. Whatever we eat, they can find it in their own cuisine and eat it like what we eat. They got their own alternative. We eat their food. They don't eat our food. Okay? You use their martial arts. Okay? Most of you are taught for Asian forms of martial arts as black people and white people. You've been trying to emulate them forever. So it's funny to me when a black person say everybody want to be like us. It's an ignorant statement because I can show you how everybody wanted to be like the Asians first. Now they talk about they found the first body in Asia, not Africa. I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it 100. Everybody wanted to be the Asian man first. And that's through the martial arts. Way before hip hop, everyone wanted to be a karate boy or a kung fu boy. All these black people dedicated their life to it. You got many black people that, especially here in New York, you dedicated your life to the arts of kung fu or karate or jitsu, you know, or some other form of martial arts that came from the East. Okay? And then you'll turn around, the same person turn around talking about everybody want to be like black people. It's ignorance. Okay? If anything, everyone wanted to be the Asian man first. Now, like I said, you know, these people opposed us and wanted to oppose me, and they wanted to make it a little goofy, little cartoon, goofy game. And then when it wasn't goofy anymore, now you want me to chill. You want people to chill. It's not gonna work like that, little buddy. In the real world, it don't work like that. You play games, you dumb Americans are gonna see and learn the hard way. You can't win all games. You didn't win the Vietnamese war, did you? You didn't win the war in the Vietnam, did you? See, no one really says it like that, but they didn't. There was a war between the North and the South, Vietnam in the North and the South. And they still lost because ultimately Vietnam did what they wanted to do. That's how they lost. They went over there to stop communism. From my understanding, the North wanted to do communism in Vietnam, and America went over there to stop the Vietnamese from putting communism in their country. They failed when they lost. When they lost, they failed. They lost. Because ultimately, that's what they went over there to fight. They didn't go over there to fight for any other reason. That was the main objective, and they lost. So as far as war and missions and objectives, they failed. But people will say physically, they didn't, because they had more body counts, they had more casualties on the Vietnamese side, but at the same time, you didn't meet your objective. So you failed. It doesn't matter, body count don't matter. If you went in with a mission and you didn't achieve that mission, you lose. That's the technicality. If you went over there with an objective to do whatever it was, and that objective was not complete, you failed. That's the bottom line. And see, for a person like me, I don't respect no American soldiers. I don't respect no American soldiers, because you fought for a country that marries children. That's why I don't respect you. Because you're ignorant and stupid and didn't know your country was marrying children. You fought for a country that's marrying children since 1929. That's almost 100 years ago. So all wars fought from that time and beyond. You was in a country that was marrying children. I have no respect for your service. And that's that. So that's my problem with them. You know what I'm saying? Military. Also under the UCMJ program, which stands for Uniform Code of Military Justice, allows all military personnel to engage sexually with 16-year-old girls or boys. So in the military, although you have to be 18 to join in America, the age of consent is 16, which means they can have sex with 16-year-old girls and boys. Everybody in the military. That means generals, lieutenants, drill sergeants, computer technicians in the military, in any position. Any position. Food chefs, food people in the military. Any position in the military. Once you are enlisted in the American military, the age of consent for all people, they have their own age of consent. So it don't matter what state you come from, no matter where you're stationed, they all have one age of consent under the UCMJ program, which stands for Uniform Code of Military Justice. You can go look it up yourself. As a prophet, I don't talk about nothing I can't talk about intelligently. It'd be a better world if everybody could only talk about stuff that they know about. So you can talk about it intelligently. That I go educate myself so I can talk about it intelligently. Under the UCMJ program, which stands for Uniform Code of Military Justice. Uniform Code of Military Justice. Under that program, they determine in the military the age of consent. And the age of consent for all military personnel is 16 years old. That means any military person can have sex with a 16-year-old girl or boy. Why y'all talking about pedophiles? And of course they do it. See, they basically covered their own butt because they knew the military people gonna be traveling all around, seeing all them people. So they just put it at a lower age. That's what they did. So they won't be in no scandal. That's the purpose. Because if you put it at 18 and the military people ain't got no control over themselves, and they get stationed all over the world, and they ain't got no control, it's gonna be scandal after scandal after scandal. That's why they put the age of consent at 16 years old in the military. So they just to cover their butt. That's what it was. Because they ain't gonna expect them people to have control over themselves, traveling all over the world, seeing all these beautiful women and children. They ain't gonna have no control. Some of them ain't gonna have no control. So as long as the age of consent is at 16, or in the world, they can have sex with anybody where they stationed, wherever they stationed. The age of consent is gonna apply. So no matter where they stationed at. So for example, in Brazil, the age of consent is 14 years old, right? So that means In Brazil, they can have sex with 16-year-old girls, but they can't have sex with 14-year-old girls. They'll get in trouble having sex with 14-year-old girls if they were stationed, if American military was stationed. But they probably still gonna do it. Because they gonna justify it based on the land. You know what I'm saying? It just go by that. But they definitely can have sex with 16-year-old girls in Brazil. They can have sex with 16-year-old girls anywhere in the world, or boys. And for those who are gay or lesbian in the military, the same age of consent applies, which means gay men can have sex in the military with 16-year-old boys. Lesbians in the military can have sex with 16-year-old girls. And so, see, this is how the prophet body everybody, no pun intended. Because you can't even talk to me about the military with the age of consent at 16 years old. That's a 7 out. You can't even talk to me about the military. What you gonna say? Oh, I guess that was your ace of spade for honor and power and glory. How you feel about that now? Knowing that they can have sex with 16-year-old girls in the military. Right now. Right today. Today. Any military personnel that's active, wherever they are, if they happen to find a 16-year-old girl or boy, they can do whatever they want to do. As long as that person is giving consent to have sex. Okay? So the prophet is above everybody. That's what I'm trying to show you. God's kingdom is above every kingdom. Military can't even look at me. You can go play other people with that. First thing I'm gonna tell the military personnel, y'all got the age of consent in the military at 16 years old. That's the age of consent for all military personnel, everybody. And the last time I checked, a 16-year-old girl had a 16-year-old vagina. A girl's vagina. That's not an adult vagina. See, in the world, there's two types of vaginas. An adult vagina and a child's vagina. There's not hybrid vaginas, like weed strains. You know, you got OG Kush mixed with some sour diesel. I don't smoke anymore, but I'm just saying. You got these hybrid strains of marijuana where they're hybrids of OG Kush and sour diesel. Okay. Vagina is not a weed strain where you can have a woman and a girl, and it's a hybrid vagina. There's no such thing as hybrid vaginas, buddy. Which means it's either an adult vagina or a girl vagina. It's not a hybrid. Well, she's almost there. She got a little sour diesel in there. She got a little sour diesel in there. Sour diesel indicating a woman. Oh, she got a little sour diesel. She got a little diesel in there. There's no sour diesel in there, buddy. She's 16. There's no sour diesel. When a female goes to the doctor, she either has a woman vagina or a child's vagina. That's what the doctor gonna say. The doctor ain't gonna say, well, she's a young woman. Now, if he got personal with her, he might call her a young woman, even though she's a girl. But when he's talking among his counterparts about the condition of the child, he's not gonna say, well, the young woman got a vagina problem, and he gonna say this child's vagina, etc., etc., etc. He's going to address the girl's anatomy as a child. He's not going to say this woman's vagina. The doctor is who determines it. A doctor is going to say you have a child's vagina or an adult vagina. There's no in between. He ain't going to say, well, she looked old enough. No, she still technically has a child's vagina. So, with that being said, anybody having sex with any girls, you having sex with child's vagina. And listen, you can talk about ancient history, you can talk about whatever, but that's a contradiction according to your standard, which means we gonna hold you to your standard. If you was in a country and they was playing with your integrity, right? Even though you feel like what they talk about might not be wrong, but then we find out they're guilty of it, right? But then we go back, they got the luxury of saying, well, it ain't wrong according to ancient history. But you was about to harm this person for doing the same thing that you're doing, then what you think we gonna do to you? If you was about to harm this person, you was about to do something to this person, but we gonna switch around the standard and go back in ancient times for you. No, we gonna hold you to the same standard. That's only common sense. That's only right. You insulted my intelligence. We supposed to work things out with you, but you was ready to kill people. But now we find out that you the one that's been doing this stuff. See, that's how the prophet came up. I found you guilty of having sex with these children. Even in the military. This is God's kingdom, buddy. Now you see it ain't a game. Because I'm pretty sure you thought you had some military talent that was that you thought was the equivalent or alternative to me. No, you don't. Because whoever you got out there with the little talent, military talent, I guarantee you they don't know nothing about child marriage laws. They ain't been talking about nothing that could body their own military. I don't even got to fight you. You see, that's why I'm talking about opponents. Opposition or enemies can fight without physically fighting. I defeated you right there. A military personnel can't tell me nothing. Long as you under the UCMJ program, which stands for the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that allows the age of consent to be at 16, you can't tell me nothing. I'm sorry to tell you. And that's that. So that's everybody. That's everybody, little buddy. Dumb police, you enforce laws for the people. You enforce laws for people that make laws to marry children. But you go enforce laws against child molesters. But at the same time, you serve a system that marries children. Hey, you bodied right there, buddy. Ow. Ow. Oh. And that's real information, isn't it? Huh? Isn't it? That's real information. Do it look like I'm playing games? That's reality. What made you think I was playing? What made you thought I was playing? You the one that contradict yourself, buddy. You the one that's a man-child marrying children. Okay, I don't know a grown man that wants to marry a child. Any grown men want to marry a child, buddy? Any grown men out there want to marry children? So are you in your right mind marrying children? So for psychologists, are these people sound of mind? Do they got good mental hygiene marrying children? They got good mental hygiene. So they're sound of mind marrying children. Out here questioning other people's sanity, but they marrying children. But you get to question my sanity. Well, let's question your sanity. Are you in your right mind marrying children? With all this whole country, now here's the punchline to mental sickness. With the whole country under the assumption that we protect children, you got a whole culture that feels they protect children, and you gonna make child marriage laws in the middle of a country that think it protects children. That's not good mental hygiene, buddy. That's not good mental hygiene. Can a real mother make laws to marry children? A real mother, a real woman. Can a woman make laws to marry children? A real mother. It makes you question everything about them. How can a real mother pass laws to marry children? How can a real woman do that? You know, women was a part of the law-making process. It wasn't all men. Oh, it's all men that did it. You know better than that, don't you? You know it had to be some women in that law-making process of making child marriage laws. You know it had to be some women up in there somewhere throughout the process of it. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And what grown woman can make laws to marry children? What grown woman can do it? A grown woman can do that and still be considered a woman to you, a mother of the community to you. She can still be considered a mother and a protector and guardian of children to you, making laws to marry children. Now you see what the beef is all about. Sitting up here contradicting yourself, acting like you ain't doing nothing, but you're still playing games with me. That's what started the war. It would be one thing if you had a seat, but you kept playing games. So then what happens? A war starts. That's what happens. You're found guilty of the same thing that you accused us of. But then you don't have a seat. You accuse the Catholics of having sex with these children, but you've been doing the same thing. The whole time. You've married children as young as 10 years old in America. That's the same age bracket as these Catholic children. Sitting up there hanging and massacring the Catholic Church the whole time, but you was marrying children right with them. So you got to see America differently, because they love talking about what the religious people doing. Oh, they love talking about what we do in our bedroom, don't they? Well, let's talk about what the government does in their bedroom. Let's talk about what these Americans do in their bedroom. Marrying children in their bedroom. That's what you're doing. You marrying children in the bedroom, ain't you? You marrying children in the bedroom. You marrying children in the bedroom. I don't see how you can even look at me with a straight face, buddy. That's why you can't do it. Police can't even look at me with a straight face these days. You can't be serious. But you're still playing games, ain't you? That's what I'm talking about, little buddy. Still playing games though, right? Right. And that's why the war is on. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. You can't listen. You can't play games with me and be marrying children. You out your mind. And you have to agree with that. It is self-explanatory. It ain't a matter of disagreement and agreement. It is what it is. They marrying children. How you cannot agree with that? It ain't nothing to really. It's what the reality is. Make sense? Well, what you saying? You don't agree with the reality. See what I'm talking about? You see why I call people cartoons? Half of them wonder, well, I don't know if I agree. What you mean you don't agree with it? It's nothing to agree. It's reality. You just can't believe that America is doing this, can you? That's the truth. You can't believe they can look at you with a straight face and be doing this stuff. They doing it. All the people up there talking like they doing something. Listen, that's why they corrupt. You see how evil they becoming? You know why? Because they realize what they doing. That's why they ain't no good. You notice it, don't you? It don't seem like they that noble and honorable and good anymore, do it? No, they look at all the language they using these days. Hanging people and killing people and blowing up boats, and look what they doing. Because they know, listen, man, they realize the prophet done exposed them for who they are. You got to become dark. You got to become the Sith. You got to. Because you're figured out. See, Anakin realized what the Sith was doing. See, I'm a real life Anakin. The only difference is I didn't choose to be Darth Vader. I stayed Anakin. I didn't become Darth Vader. I'm Anakin. I'm not Yoda. I'm greater than Yoda. Yoda among you was these old school honorable military people, like that represents Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Vader, Anakin Skywalker was the promised one, the chosen one. It wasn't Yoda. Yoda wasn't the chosen one. Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't the chosen one. It was Anakin. Anakin was the chosen one. Then he became Darth Vader. The chosen one became Darth Vader. Ain't no way you can say you're the heroes and you're the Jedi and you marry children. You marry children. How can you say you Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi? Obi-Wan Kenobi marrying children. Obi-Wan Kenobi is marrying children. Yoda is marrying children. Chewbacca is with Chewbacca. R2 is marrying children. R2 marrying children. So how is the Jedi marrying children, bro? You see where the confusion comes in, don't you? Is America the Jedi, or are they the Sith? That's the question. Either way it go, I'm a real life Anakin. Okay? I could have went with the dark side in many different ways. But I stayed Anakin. And I let y'all be guilty of what y'all was doing. You marrying children. See, Anakin was confused about who was the good side. Who was, he was confused about the Sith. He was stuck between the Sith and the Jedi. But in this world, I decided to go with the kingdom of God. And I let the Sith and the Jedi fight it out. And I'm going with God's kingdom. So I just stuck to being Anakin and I stayed with God's kingdom. Glory to his name. And I exposed the Jedi for marrying children. While they're always talking about the Siths of the world, they're always pointing out the Siths of the world, but they're the ones that's marrying children. You see what I'm saying? They're blowing up boats. Look at all the stuff that they're doing. You could say Donald Trump is a Sith. He's a Sith. Does it look like that? It never does. It never does look like that at face value. See, you just painted America like they're the perfect Jedi, especially white people. We're the Jedi. Really? Marrying children, you the Jedi? How can you be the Jedi marrying children? That's Anakin's question. How can you be the Jedi marrying children? Make that make sense. Marrying children, but we the Jedi. Marrying children, but I'm Yoda. Marrying children, but I'm Chewbacca. Marrying children, but I'm R2. See that part? See, you thought I was the Sith. No. I chose to go with God's kingdom. And see, in the real world, you got the Jedi, the Sith, and God's kingdom. The Jedi represents all the good, honorable, good people in the world. You're loyal like a pit bull. But you don't have the full picture and portion of this whole situation. Neither do you know what the American community been doing this whole time. You don't know their full history. You haven't acknowledged them for who they are. The Sith doesn't care. They just want to destroy this country. They just hate these people. They stand for evil among themselves in their ranks and all of that, and they don't care. I don't represent that. I represent the kingdom of God. We destroy all contradictions, including the Jedi's contradiction. The Jedi is marrying children. Okay? That's what it is. They go all around the world trying to fix everybody else's problems, trying to season oil tankers. But you're marrying children. You season children too, ain't you? You season children tankers too, ain't you? Grown men making tankers out of girls. You done turned her into a tanker, ain't you? You season these girls and making them oil tankers. That's what you're doing. You season these girls too, ain't you? Jumping on them like they were jumping on the oil tanker. Keep jumping on them and everything, making them oil tankers, ain't you? Donald Trump cannot have this conversation. He can't have this conversation at all. No, he can't. Why can't Trump have this conversation with the prophet? Why can't Trump have this real conversation? Why? Because he was in the White House when y'all married children. He was there. Now, those who represent the Jedi are going to say, well, he didn't have anything to do with it. Aren't you simple-minded? Aren't you simple-minded? Even though he did not pass the laws, he's the president, he could have been very verbal and vocal about in opposition to these child marriage laws when they started getting passed. Do you think he knew about it? That's a yes or no question. So Trump didn't know nothing about it. Trump don't know nothing about child marriage laws in America. Him and Ivanka, his daughter, helped advocate for laws to stop sex trafficking on the internet. But Ivanka did nothing about child marriage laws. Ivanka Trump made laws to stop sex. She advocated for it in 2017. Ivanka Trump advocated for a law to be passed to stop sex trafficking online. 2 years later, America made child marriage laws, 2019. Ivanka Trump, or the Trumps in general, said nothing. But yet she advocated 2 years earlier for sex trafficking online. Oh, this is facts. Go look it up, buddy. Did Ivanka Trump ever talk about child marriage laws? She didn't, did she? She didn't. She didn't do that, did she? So you stop sex trafficking online. I'm not the smartest man in the world, right? But you stop sex trafficking online. But you didn't say nothing to advocate against child marriage laws where people get to take children home and like a Happy Meal. Like a Happy Meal. They get to take children home like a Happy Meal. Grown men eating Happy Meals. When have you ate a Happy Meal as a grown man on purpose? Now, if you're homeless, you get somebody to eat a Happy Meal, you're going to eat it, right? But that's a physical Happy Meal, you know what I mean? This is no symbolic for children, right? But as a grown man, that's still talking about the physical food. When the last time have you eaten a Happy Meal on purpose? Huh? When you ate a Happy Meal on purpose, buddy? Well, I want 2 Happy Meals. Give me 2. I know some goofy people out there, some goofy white boy. That's white boy humor, ain't it? Give me 5 Happy Meals. Now, I know I had a white friend that would do something like that. Give me 3 Happy Meals. What? I want 5 Happy Meals. It just seems like I got a lot of food. It just seems like I got a lot of food. Give me 5 Happy Meals. Any men out here trying to get Happy Meals? That's what the equivalent of is when it's come to these children. Huh? Children is, listen, you get a child marriage, that's like a Happy Meal, bruh. Grown men eating Happy Meals. It disgusts me. You disgust me. You disgust me, buddy. And what disgusts me the most is that you can sit up here and talk about child molesters. That's what I'm talking about. You know, with a straight face and everything. I mean, be dead serious too, don't they? They be dead serious. And child marriage laws is dead serious too, ain't it? It's dead serious in this country, ain't it? Keep in mind, Russia does not marry children. China does not marry no children. They don't have any laws to marry children in Russia. They don't have any laws to marry children in China. You marry children in America. And then you've been locking up these child molesters the whole time. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm tripping off of. That's the problem. That's what makes you the enemy. Finally, we got these people where and they can't talk themselves out of this one right here, buddy. That's why Trump can't have the conversation with the prophet. I'm talking about me. He can't have no conversation with me. Trump can't have no conversation with me. No, he can't. No, he can't. Trump can't have no conversation with me. No, he can't. What would Trump say if I say, you was in the White House when child marriage laws were passed, wasn't you? Well, I wasn't aware. That's what he gonna say. Well, I wasn't aware of that. That wasn't brought to my attention. Really? So you're the president, and they didn't give you some type of bulletin, some type of tangible bulletin about child marriage laws being passed. You would have me to believe that you were not aware and conscious of child marriage laws being passed when it was passed. Of course he was. Let's just look at it like this. This is how I like to put it. Keep in mind, Trump has his own social media platform, right? Okay, so you telling me as you as the president, as like Facebook, you didn't get a notification about child marriage laws. You didn't get a notification, so to speak, as the president of the commander-in-chief of this country. When they passed laws to marry children July 1st, 2019, you telling me you didn't get no notifications, as in notifications for like Facebook. Like you're the commander-in-chief. So let's say the government is like Facebook, right? You're the commander-in-chief. You telling me you didn't get a notification? Like a little 1 or 2, and then you click on it, oh, child marriage laws. He knew about it. How Trump didn't know about it? Either way, that makes it, if he didn't know about it, that makes him incompetent. Well, you were sitting in the White House like an old buzzard, didn't even know, like an old fart, and didn't know the child marriage laws were being passed? Well, I didn't know. Let me turn my head. It's hard to turn my head. What's back there? Come on, what's back there? Oh. 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 Trump didn't know about child marriage laws. Yes or no? Did he know about it? Did the government know about it? Of course they knew about it. They helped pass it. So the government didn't notify Trump. But the government knew about it. But nobody notified Trump. Here's the punchline. This is what I'm gonna get you right here. So nobody told the whole Trump administration, the first term Trump administration, nobody in the Trump administration knew about child marriage laws being passed. That's 7 out. Nobody didn't know about it. The Trump administration, the whole Trump administration didn't know nothing about it. The Trump administration, the Trump administration. The Trump administration didn't know nothing about it. None of them. You know how big the Trump administration is? It's hundreds of people. No, let's bring it into, it's probably thousands, right? When you think about Trump administration, you thought about 50 people, didn't you? Keep it real. You thought, well, about 50 people in the Trump administration. You didn't really think about numbers, is my point. There's hundreds of people in the Trump administration. You know that, right? Okay. Maybe even thousands. But at least definitely there's hundreds. So you telling me hundreds of people didn't know about child marriage laws in the Trump administration? So the whole Trump administration didn't know nothing about it. Nobody knew in the Trump administration. The whole Trump administration didn't know. That's what you got me trying to believe. You want me to believe that nobody in the Trump administration, nobody, not one person, was notified about child marriage laws being passed, and that's the president, and that's the administration, and that's laws. That's laws. You think a politician, a president ain't gonna know about new laws passed? Of course he is. He gonna know about all the laws passed. He knows about marijuana and all this stuff going on. Reclassified. So he don't know about child marriage. Reclassifying your children as sexual objects. Your children being reclassified as sexual objects. Like blow-up dolls. Your children being reclassified as blow-up dolls. Your children being reclassified as blow-up dolls, man. While Trump is talking about reclassifying weed in 2025 at the end of the world. Well, it kind of smells like funnel cake. It can't be too bad. What, that's funnel cake strain right there? That's the funnel cake strain, ain't it? Smell like funnel cake. It smelled like funnel cakes. You should call that funnel cake strain. Trump in there naming strains, ain't it? Call that funnel. That smell like funnel cake. Hey, you know Trump probably talk a little older when he ain't in public, don't he? Well, that's like Trump. Hey, that's his voice when he ain't in public. Well, that sounds like fun. That smell like funnel cake. Well, I think you should call that funnel cake. That's Trump's non-public voice. Well, I think y'all should call that funnel cake. Hey, did you see how Trump looked when he almost got shot? The real old man came out, didn't he? You see how he was looking around? That's the real Trump right there, Belly. Nah, did you see that? How he was looking around and everything? That's the real Trump, man. That man old, bro. That tough guy persona, that was him probably like 20 years ago. He didn't let it go. Think about it. That ain't how he really is. He real laid back like an old man. Like, yeah, how y'all doing? That's the real Trump, buddy. Oh, you don't think so? Come on, man. You think you can't catch Trump being an old man? I done it a couple times. You ain't never seen him a couple times as an old man? When he was looking around a little bit? Come on. Playing that role like he's 50 years old. Why can't Trump have the conversation about the child marriage laws in America? That's a legitimate argument. Why? Listen, even if you MAGA, listen, you got a problem with me talking about Trump answering why he wasn't vocal about child marriage laws being passed. You got a problem. What that means about you? You're just a blind goon. You're just a blind dummy. I ain't scared of you because I ain't scared to die. MAGA don't put no fear in my heart, buddy. You don't put one drop of fear in my heart. You should have knew my generation would come in with all this thugging out here. You should have knew and all this stuff with these felonies out here. You should have knew somebody was coming that wasn't going to be scared of no white people. And get past the streets into other ranks of the community. And we still ain't scared of nobody. See, what they expect for all us to fall off in the streets. That's why I got to avoid the streets. Because they wait for me to fall off out there in Brooklyn. Well, why do you think they put me in Brooklyn? Because I love Brooklyn. Because I got love for... No, they just hoping I'm stupid enough to walk around and get caught up in something. That's what it is. They just hoping that if he is autistic, he going to walk down through Utica and all these different parts of Brooklyn. He going to get... Something going to happen to him. That's what it was. They put me over here to try to see if I'm gonna be walking around and doing all this stuff, walking around. Hoping I get caught up in something. Hoping I do. Think I'm stupid, man. They ain't put me over here for love. You ain't put me over, no, you put me over here so I can get caught up. That's what it is. That's what it is. Why can't Trump have this real conversation? Why can't he talk about... See, it's almost like the Epstein files, ain't it? It's just like the Epstein files. They can't have these real conversations. You can't get the whole thing out of them. You can't get the whole thing out of them. You can't get the whole conversation. Oh yeah, particularly when it comes to the sex, ain't it? With the children. Oh. You can't get the real whole conversation, can you? Can you imagine trying to get the real whole conversation out of all them people? Pam Bondi and all them people. What Pam Bondi gonna say about child marriage? Pam Bondi ain't got nothing to say about no child marriage, do she? Bondi ain't got nothing to say about no child marriage, do she? What about Jessica Tisch? Jessica Tisch ain't saying nothing about child marriage, has she? Now you see why they try to hide the prophet. You see that part? You see that part? You see that part? You see that part? Jessica Tisch can't say nothing about no child marriage laws in America, can she? That's the 7th hour. She can't say nothing about it, can she? Veron Donnie, the new mayor, he can't say nothing about it. He ain't said nothing about child marriage, has he? That's 7th hour. He ain't said nothing about it, has he? Yeah, that part. Ron Donnie ain't saying nothing about no child marriage laws, has he? Eric Adams, the mayor now, has he said something about child marriage this whole time? Eric Adams ain't saying nothing about the child marriage, has he? That's what I'm saying. You see how crazy it is? You'll feel like you was in the Twilight Zone if it was me. This is like an episode of the Twilight Zone. All these people play with this one guy. And then all of a sudden he realizes, this guy himself realizes, that the whole country been marrying children. It's like the Twilight Zone, man. All these people didn't know about it the whole time. That ain't like the Twilight Zone. You could easily see that on the Twilight Zone. This guy realizes they been playing with him random. They was running behind him all around the country. Then this guy, he realizes on this episode of the Twilight Zone, while these people questioning his integrity, he finds that most of the country was marrying children the whole time. And no one knew about it. Like none of the celebrities, nobody. That's like the Twilight Zone. Trump can't even tell you. Ain't that eerie? Ain't that weird? Strange and bizarre. Can you imagine what I've been looking around thinking? Trump can't even have this conversation, man. Can Trump have this conversation? See, they just hoping to label me crazy, ain't they? So then nobody don't take it seriously. They just hoping you label me crazy so nobody don't take it seriously. But the facts, the facts are the facts. Listen, I can see if I was struggling to produce evidence. I'm not. Like, they struggling to produce evidence. That's 7 out. You struggling to produce evidence, aren't you? I'm not. I'm not struggling to produce evidence. You've been marrying children in America since 1929. That's all the best years of America. You've been marrying children. Okay? And then you trying to trigger on me. You can't be serious, buddy. You a joke. You an absolute joke. That's what you are. Can't be serious. You should listen. You should be wanting to kill yourself for playing your position of being against me and you marrying children as a community. You shouldn't even want to live. Marrying children. Love in marriage, child marriage. Don't go together like a horse and carriage. Child marriage, child in a marriage. You Al Bundy, ain't you? You the opposite of Al Bundy. You the opposite of Al Bundy. Al Bundy. You the opposite of Al Bundy, ain't you? Al Bundy. Put a little funk on it. Al Bundy. You Al Bundy, ain't you? Hey man, listen. You Christina Applegate, ain't you? Well, you dumb like she was on the show, Kelly. You dumb like Kelly Bundy. Well, I didn't know they had child marriage. Well, let me go look. I think they had an ad in the paper. I think they had something in the ad. I think one of my friends told my mom about a ballroom and a child's dress for marriage. That must have been it. You Christina Applegate. Half of you men wanted to have sex with Christina Applegate. Yeah, you did. You wouldn't have turned it down. You would have turned down Christina Applegate when she was on the what's that? Married with Children. Oh, me and her was around the same age. So if I liked her, it wasn't no problem. It wasn't no problem if I liked her. She's actually a little older than me in real life, you know. Huh? But you liked her, didn't you? Come on, man. Come on. Let's be 100. Let's be 100. Ask Trump, did he like, let me see. Hey, let's just ask these single men. Let's be fair. Let's ask these single men, how you like Christina Applegate on the show? Especially the first season. What about the first season? Oh, you know she was real young on the first season. Well, she wasn't 18, I tell you that, buddy. And listen, I can show you your temptation. I can show you, listen, if that's the game you want to play, buddy, listen. I can show you something that I know half of you will do. Listen, I know you're a doer. If you seen a girl like Christina Applegate, half of you men, if she gave you time of day, listen, I promise you wouldn't turn it down, buddy. If you and her was in the same house and she came in your room and she said, hey, can I lay in here in the bed with you? At first you're going to say, I don't think, you know what you're going to first say? I don't think that's a good idea. That's what you're going to say at first. Then she going to just jump on the bed. Oh, come on. Smelling like cotton candy. You going to turn it down? No, you're not, buddy. I promise you ain't going to turn that down, buddy. You seen Christina Applegate coming there smelling like cotton candy laying on your bed. You're not turning it down, I'm telling you. If she made one move on you, that's all it would take. I know. See, most men know. Listen, man, look. We try to put our best foot forward. Do we notice when we see a beautiful girl that don't know if she's a woman or a girl? What do? We guard ourselves. That's what a good man do. We're going to guard our minds and guard ourselves, and we're going to try to analyze and see if she's a woman. And if she's a girl, we're not going to look at her. We're not going to deal with her. But did we notice that she was beautiful? Not sexy, not sexualizing, but did we notice that this Christina Applegate looking girl was beautiful? That's not the sin. That's not the sin right there. You acknowledge when a flower is beautiful, don't you? Okay, so you talk about beautiful children all the time. Are you lusting after them when you say that? No, you're not. Most men gonna analyze, okay, is that a girl or a woman? See, so it breaks men codes when we got these bastards in our community that's playing around everybody's life. They're retarded. Half of them are gay. That's why they don't hold men codes. Real men say, hey man, I'm just doing the best I can. If I see a beautiful woman, a girl, if I'm trying to see if she's a woman. If she's not a woman, then I'm gonna move on. But I don't want no jerk around my mind or around my body language trying to see what I got control of. I got control of myself. Get control of yourself. Marrying them children. That's a 7 hour. Yeah. Get control of them children. Marrying them children. I got control of myself, sucker. See, that breaks men codes. It breaks men codes. That's how we know it's a whole bunch of homosexuals. Because most men are going to have an understanding of the struggle that we deal with. Of seeing these beautiful females out here. And you just trying to be pure as a man should be and put your best foot forward. Doesn't it make sense how I said it? You know what I mean? And then think about some little gay little jerk trying to see what you're doing. That part. That's all that is. It's most of them are gay or bisexual. That's why they don't stick to men codes. Bro codes. Where we're not playing around the next man's mind. If a girl passed by and I'm with my homies, I ain't gonna stand there and look at his face and see if he looking at him. That's what these gay boys doing. A girl passed by, he's sitting there looking in your face. Bro, really? Why you in my face, bro? Even if you with your homies and he trying to holler at a girl, like, bro, why you in my face, man? Chill for me. Fall back for a minute. Let me go over here and holler at this girl real quick, man. Now, I'm talking about a woman now. Even if you're looking at a woman and your homies looking in your face, like, bro, what is that about? You jealous? Are you jealous? Hey, he won't never get past that. Yo, man, me and him was out. He was looking at my face like I'm his man. I'm looking at the female. He's not. He's looking at me. No, listen. I know the difference between looking at a female and looking at me. He was looking at me. Your friends won't let you get past it. Remember that time we was in the mall and you was looking at me like I was your man? Stand by your man. Bow, bow, wow. Stand by your man. That's what it's like when you standing by America. You standing by your man, ain't you? No, I'm talking real talk, bro. Men have real temptations. You looking at Christina Applegate, listen, when you was a man sitting there looking at Christina Applegate, you was just trying to figure out, okay, is she a woman? Before I indulge in this, I need to know if she's a woman. Well, let me go find that out. See, these days you go on the internet. Well, let me go find out how old she was when she first started the show. Oh, I can't look at her that way on this show. Oh, well, my third season, she's 18. So, by the third season, she's 18. So I'll just go on the third season. Let me start at hey, I'm telling you, real men would do that. Well, I'm starting at the third season. Baby, why are we watching the third season? Well, that's where, that's where it gets interesting, don't you think? I mean, it didn't get good to about the third season anyway. Well, I guess you're right. The first season the third season, that's when it was really getting good. Christina Applegate was 18 on the third season. Well, that's the real reason why. Yeah, well, you want to lust after Christina Applegate. Well, I want a woman. I want to look at a woman. I don't want to look at a little girl. I don't want to look at Christina Applegate as a girl. No, a man gonna keep it 100. I don't want to look at Christina Applegate as no little girl. No, I don't. No, it ain't that I can't do it. I can do it. But I don't want to do it. So we gonna watch the third season when she's 18. There we go. She's 18 right there. Yeah. We don't care about Bud because I'm not gay. I don't care about Bud. He can stay 5. He look like he's 5 anyway, don't he? Bud look like he's 5 all the time, don't he? Bud can stay 5. Or whatever his name was. What is Bud? I think it was. We don't care about Bud, do we? We're going to watch third season because Christina Applegate was 18. She was 19. Oh, wow. Yeah, 19. Hey, your wife coming there. Well, she was 19. Oh, wow. She was 19. Well, that means the fifth season, she was like 20, wasn't she? It's getting better and better, ain't it? It's getting better and better. It's getting better. Every episode's getting better, baby. Yeah, it is. It is. It actually is, literally. Why you keep saying it's getting better? Because it is. You just saying that because Christina Applegate is getting older and older. Well, hey, at least I'm waiting on her. At least I'm waiting on her. See, that's the codes that a man got. A man ain't gonna sit up there and look at these little girls on TV. Not me. It ain't that I can't do it. I'm just not gonna do it. That's the best way to put it. No, I don't find no interest in it. I'm gonna look at grown women on TV. If I'm watching, most of the times, if I can help it. I ain't sitting up there looking on children. That's how you see. That's a real man. That's what a man gonna tell you. See, a gay boy ain't gonna know that because he ain't attracted to no a woman anyway. He just looking at everything. And he don't care how old and how young or none of that. See what I'm talking? See how bugged out that is? That part. You know what I'm saying? A grown man, I'm looking at grown women on TV. I ain't gonna be sitting there drunk looking at Christina Applegate when she was 16. Come on now. You sitting there drunk looking at Christina Applegate. You know how many men did that? Didn't care. Probably masturbated right there. I'm just being real. Of course they did, man. Come on, man. That's common sense. See, men know this kind of stuff. We know how nasty we can be as men. We know. So we stick to bro codes like, okay, man, long as you ain't, this is how real men talk to each other. Listen, we all share the love of women. Now, no, yes, all different types of women. They're all beautiful, everything. We just can't wait to get another one. If we don't got one, we just waiting to get another one, right? So we all have this bro code that we got this understanding among ourselves as real men. There's an understanding among ourselves. The only thing we gonna talk about is that you as a grown man, you ain't with none of these children. If we don't physically see you with none of these children, who am I to play with you? You are a brother like us that try to put your best foot forward and resist the children of these girls, these beautiful girls. You ain't lusting after them, but you ain't gonna indulge in the beauty like the rest of us. And it's not a hang up. It's a man that's aware of the beauty. And how far is he gonna go? He's gonna classify the children in the right area, right? But the older they get, you're gonna have to put your guard up like a real man. Because that look almost like a woman, but it ain't. And see, that's how the devil gonna tempt you. Well, that look like a woman. That's how the devil gonna come at you, don't you? She kind of listen, she's close enough, isn't she? You gonna start justifying it. Well, yeah, she kind of is. Smart and intelligent. Yeah, look at her. She acts just like a woman. And listen, you know she's on a cycle. Well, yeah. Well, you know she's on a cycle and all that, man. Come on. I mean, what else do you need here? You're waiting for her to be get a 401k? I mean, what are you waiting for? See, that's how the devil gonna come at you. A grown man gonna say, look, man, she gotta be 18 and that's all there is to it, man. That's all there is to it. If she 18 now, that's a different situation. As a carnal man gonna say, I get to look at her because she's 18. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know the rules and regulations because that got to be understood. Even let's settle that. Let's get that laid out because that's who's out there. These carnal men. So you tell them about their rules and regulations. These gay boys and gay girls don't know nothing about it. No, they don't, man. They don't live with it. They don't live and walk in it. They do whatever they want to do. We stick to codes as men. We don't lust after no children. If any man that will say they ain't never looked at a child but they thought it was a woman, you a liar. But it's innocent because you didn't know she was a child. You looked at her from the back and think, oh man, that's a beautiful woman. Then you turned around, she turned around, you realize it was a girl. Oh, that's a child. That should be your response, right? See, only a pure man will respond like that. We gonna say, oh, okay, you see him, oh, that's like a beautiful woman. She turns around, oh, that's a girl. Every man, most young men done that. Especially if you live somewhere like New York. You see all these females out there, you ain't never seen a woman from the back. And you kind of looked at her butt because you thought that was a woman. But then, you seen her face and she was a girl. Okay, now were you guilty of lusting after a girl? No, because innocently you thought it was a woman, didn't you? Yes. So in your mindset, you didn't violate your standards or the standard of looking at a woman that way. The way you look at a woman, you didn't violate that standard because in your mind she was a woman. When you look now, but when you looked at her, she was a girl. How you respond? Oh, that's a girl. You won. Now, if you looked at her and then thought something else, oh, well, hey. See, that's the pedophiles. A man gonna say, oh, that's a girl, that's a woman, that's a girl. Okay, I can. But you ain't gonna feel guilty because you thought it was a woman. See, that's the things a real man can tell you about. A homosexual can't tell you about that. He can't tell you about that, man. He can't tell you about that. That's real. But that's the ones that's out here trying to judge people and everything. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's like, you gotta have real men. We can't have these Happy Meal eating, loving little corny little cornballs out here trying to judge what people are doing. You know what I'm saying? No, you think you know. You don't know. You don't know what it's like being a real man. Okay? You don't. You don't know what it's like being a real man. Intellectually. Mentally. Okay? Because you're looking at boys. We looking at women. Right? You're looking at men. We looking at... You know how many women it is out here in public? Right. So you go outside and we see way more females than you do. That's the struggle is already there, right there. All these females out there. You ain't going through that. Come on, man. That's why, like, man, I ain't no way in the world you think I'm gonna let a little gay guy judge. Yeah, I ain't gonna let no little gay guy judge me, buddy. I'll tell you that. Can you imagine that? That's what the world has come to. These gay dudes out here trying to judge straight men, and you know, we stick to bro codes, man. We know what it is to struggle and try to put our best foot forward and not lust after no children. Not saying we want to, but you know, you put your mind in the right place. You know, you walk like that and you navigate. You feel me? Like you navigate like that, walking down the street. Okay, but we always got a healthy appetite after a female, so that's why we have to keep it under control. You know what I'm saying? So if we see all these females out here, you know, we're not guilty, you know, but, you know, we are guarded properly. And then with all the stuff that's going on, we're going to be guarded properly towards these children, which means we're going to be conscious of being pure around these children, making sure we think properly. Are we tempted? No. But we're tempted not to, we're tempted against, if this makes sense, doing the wrong thing. So we're making sure we're not doing the wrong thing. That's the devil brings the temptation to make us look like we're doing the wrong thing. So the temptation is not the child, it's the temptation to do the wrong thing. Make sense? Makes sense, right? Okay. Because we don't got no lust in our hearts, so that it's just the issue of how we're seen, how we're seen as a man. Am I seen as someone who would do that? So that's the temptation. It's more the intellectual level of it. You make sense? Because we ain't gonna think about it. You know, we ain't thinking about it. We don't know. So you're challenged on the intellectual level as far as being a man, what you would do and you wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? That's what the challenge is. But you know in yourself, and you ain't feeling no lust for no children. You ain't feeling nothing like that. No, come on, that's common sense. That's come on. But it's a struggle with these spirits and these investigations and these people playing games out here. They add to that. That's why we can't stand them. Because it's already spirits out here, and it's men trying to their best to put their best foot forward. And then you got some little gay little people looking in your face, you know, playing games with you. Because a real man can't do it. I ain't finna look in your face and try to see. You know, it's a violation. You know what I'm saying? Who is that person? They can't be a real man, because a real man gonna sympathize with other men. I ain't finna look at somebody's face and try to see how you looking at girls. You know what I'm saying? Come on. It's just something that a man can't stand. If it was like 4 or 5 men, we couldn't stand somebody doing that. No. Yeah, we seen this dude. He was looking at everybody's face, trying to see how we looking at the kids or how we looking at people. We wouldn't want that little bastard around us at all. It's not because we guilty or something. It's just the violation of it. Like, who are you to invade my intellectual space to try to see what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? Who are you? Who are you to us? to all of us. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't that we're tempted by children. It's different levels of what to be tempted by, or what we resist, which is to be considered someone that will harm children or something. So the struggle is to present ourselves, besides the temptation or the appetite of it, with that scratched. But it's the image part, because that's the struggle that is out here where these adults are trying to accuse this person, that person. It's all in our community. So then the real man, stands his ground and navigates to make sure that, you know, people understand he's good with these children. You know what I'm saying? And you would say it should be easily proven, but you know, but then when you got these little elves, these little gay elves out here, you know what I'm saying? They make it that much more of a situation, I guess you could say. And then that's where the logistics gets going, where you have to get your muscles going and juices going to show people know your manhood and what you stand for. You know what I'm saying? So that's what even put you in that position. Better to say that. Because if that element wasn't there, you just feel normal. Just like, ain't nothing going across your mind. You ain't thinking nothing. You don't feel challenged or nothing. But the energy is not that anymore. So now we, beyond with these new struggles, we have to put our best foot forward through all the struggles, right? And not let nobody hold us to no perfect standard, like we perfect. No, you're not gonna be perfect, but you ain't gonna do nothing to no children. And that's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some men that will take that extra look at a girl that's maybe like 15, 16. You got some guys like that. But they ain't gonna do nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna do nothing, you know, but who am I to say, okay, he looked at that girl, he should die? No, I'm not gonna say he should die. Because I live in the real world where all this stuff is happening. See, some of y'all don't live in the real world, and that comes back to that gay world, the lesbian world. They don't really connect to our world as hard as you think they do. They're kind of isolated to their own little world. You know what I'm saying? In the real world where we live at, we're just glad that people ain't touching these kids. You heard? We just glad that people ain't doing nothing to them. And that's it. That's all I can do. That's all I can do even as a prophet. I'm not finna play around with somebody. Even if I see him looking at a girl, I'm not gonna do nothing about it. No. Even if I can, I'm not. That's not enough for me to do something to somebody. Because I understand men struggle. I understand dirty men. A real man understands dirty men and everything. See, a gay boy don't know dirty men. And they exist, you know, they look at these girls and they do all kinds of stuff. As long as they don't touch them, I can't do nothing about it. And then if they do touch them, I mean, I don't know how proactive I would be in every situation. You know what I'm saying? But I might interject if it makes sense. And I can win myself. But if a guy got a gun out, I'm not what I'm gonna do. Try to be a hero? No, I'm not. I'm not paid for that. Like Suge Knight said, I don't get paid to do police work. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. See, that's a person that lives in the real world. That's the whole real story. Okay, like, so that's how you don't let these suckers play with you. Them are gay men or bisexuals or weirdos that we don't care about. Because, see, a real man gonna protect his brother. You know what I'm saying? If I know the struggle that goes on. You know what I'm saying? If I seen you questionable, but you ain't do nothing to no children, then I'm gonna talk through that with you. I'm not gonna crucify you because I think you looked at a girl. I'm just saying, man, you know, we gotta have self-control. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure, you know what I'm saying, our desires is in the right place, and we are only attracted to these women out here, and only one woman. You know, and look to be in a monogamous relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's the next step. You know what I'm saying? So, but I ain't gonna sit up, because I understand men. I ain't finna sit up and crucify a man. You know what I'm saying? If he even look at a child, or if he thinking something about children, I'm not gonna do nothing about that either. I definitely ain't gonna do nothing about it, because I understand men, and I understand these games people playing out here with the men in our community, with all those components put together. I'm not doing nothing to nobody, especially when they marrying children. And Donald Trump can't have this real conversation. That's how you know I'm a man. I relate to men. I don't relate to gay boys or gay girls. You know what I'm saying? I relate to men, and now you know. Because only a man gonna agree with everything I just said. It don't mean we caught. We ain't caught doing nothing. It's what it is. And you're not going to be perfect in no area of life. I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I respect the human imperfections and human boundaries. You ain't gonna be perfect in no area. That includes with children. You ain't gonna be perfect. But who am I to judge you, to engage your levels of imperfection in those areas? I'm not. Who am I to do that? That's what I'm saying. But you know it goes without saying. If you're not perfect, how you gonna be perfect in any area, even towards children? You ain't perfect towards children. You know you're not. Check your own mind. Check your brain. You're not perfect towards children, but you ain't gonna do nothing towards them. You ain't gonna bother. You ain't gonna go that far. So then, who am I to gauge that level of imperfection from man to man? All we gonna look at is, do you physically do anything? You don't. Listen. Who am I to judge anything else? And see, that's how you get rid of the squares and all these weirdos in our community, all these nerds in our community. They think they're so cool, and the codes they done broke in humanity show you're not a cool person. You think you're cool, but you're a retarded person. I am convinced from these gang stalkers that there is another type of retarded. Retarded ain't just, messed up hand and walking funny. It's a certain other type of retarded. You know what I'm saying? Because the definition of retarded is something that does not progress. That's what retardation means. Retardation means, by definition, something that does not progress, right? So you did not progress to understand things as men understand it. Concerning these children and concerning things and everything and life in general, and you didn't progress intellectually. So you're retarded as far as your mind not progressing with the rest of us. And that's why you come out here non-progressive about understanding things in life, right? And it mixed with us who understand life, and it's a mess because you're retarded, because your mind did not progress with the rest of us. That's what I'm saying. So it's a different type of retarded. See, when you go to definition, you understand that. The definition of retardation is something that does not progress. Now that can apply to a million things. That's why you gotta always be progressing. And when I progress on this conversation, I realize men are not perfect. On no level of nothing. That means so even though we won't touch children or nothing or whatever, we ain't gonna be perfect. So who am I to go into the matrix of that imperfection at all? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. My only code of as humanity is to make sure no one's physically doing that. That's my only code that we all hold to. That's it. I can't come out here and try to see if he feels some type of way because I know he's a human being. A human being gonna have imperfections. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So anybody that plays on those imperfections deserve death. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not human like us. You don't represent you're not a part of us as humanity. People are gonna vouch more for me because I talk as a human being. You know what I'm saying? You act like an alien. Come out here playing around people's mind and trying people running around and everything. No, that ain't humanity. Humanity is gonna agree with me and stand with me. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna do nothing to no children. But is your mind perfect? Probably not. Probably not. But am I gonna physically do anything to a child? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. Ain't nothing gonna bring me to do nothing to no child. I know that for sure. And that's all I need to be concerned about. And that's all you need to be concerned about. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you let people hold you to these weirdo standards of living and everything, I'm sorry for you. Because the Bible says, okay, you got some Christian will say, as a man thinketh, so is he. Let me show you something. You're misinterpreting the scripture. That scripture is saying, this is how you need to know. Some people are so smart, they stupid, bro. That's saying, as you think, so will you do and be. So if, in this context, if you think like a pedophile, then if that's truly how you think, then eventually you will do that. So now let's go back to it. As a man thinketh, so is he. which means he becomes that. He is that as he thinks. But that takes actions for him to be that. It isn't just because it sits in your head. It's not. It's as a man think, he will become. Okay? And nobody ain't gonna disagree with that. As a person think, he will become. In order to become, you gotta have actions. See, some people are so retarded, they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? That's it. As he thinks, so is he. Like, if you just thinking it, you become it. But then that doesn't make sense, does it? Well, how do you become something just because you're thinking it? It doesn't work like that, buddy. That's like saying you're a smoker, but you ain't never smoking. You're thinking about smoking. But so in the context of smoking, if I'm thinking about smoking, how so is he gonna be real unless I'm smoking? So as a man think, according to smoking, let's add that to smoking, for example. So in the context of a person thinking about smoking, am I going to be looked at as a smoker before God if I'm thinking about smoking? No. I'm going to think about it long enough until I smoke. And then so will I be a smoker. So as I think, I became what I thought. But that has to happen. It can't be just the thought part. The whole full scripture is, as you think, you will become. And if you don't become that, that doesn't apply to you. And that proves my point. If you ain't out here doing nothing to no children, so is he doesn't apply to you. Because why not? You're not that. Because you're not doing that. So is he, so is he you when you're not doing it. See what I'm saying? It's some people who got informal interpretations of the Bible, bro. You walk around with retarded interpretations of the Bible. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. That's what it is. That's what it is. I relate to human beings. Ain't nobody in the world going to tell me your mind is pure and you ain't never had no thoughts that you did not like, or that you or something that was questionable. Let's put it like that. But you knew what it meant, but it seemed questionable, but you knew what it meant. You know what it means, but it's so in the right interpretation, it's not questionable, is it? No. But the bottom line is this is the conclusion. They marrying children. So is he. As he thought about marrying children, he made laws to marry children. As he thought about living with children and having sex daily with children, so is he because he made laws in America to marry children. Perfect example, suckers. As he thought, he became. He married children now. That's what that is. Not you sitting up critiquing somebody's thoughts. Because the will has to be applied to the full totality to prove and define that person as that. And if you don't see nobody doing that, who are you to play around somebody? You're not good enough. You're not great enough. Okay? It's just you can't define even what somebody is thinking. Who are you to say what that means? That's you thinking you're intelligent and you're not. You don't even know why that person's thinking about it. Even though you hear it, you can't define it. He defines it. She defines it. And so when people say every idle thought or whatever, yeah, but there's different levels of thinking. Fleeting thoughts, thoughts of desire, thoughts that I would not want to have, thoughts that I would be guarded towards. You don't know how many folds it is to thinking process, to what has to be judged. So you don't know what's to be judged because you don't know how to judge it. You don't know how to judge different levels and layers of thought. You got fleeting thoughts, thoughts that you're self-conscious about, thoughts that you have no desire on. And God wouldn't judge you as to say you have desire on those things. If you don't, they're coming across your mind for different reasons. Then add the satanic kingdom to that equation where demons are throwing thoughts at your mind. And imagine some telepath or psychic trying to come in and read thoughts coming from the satanic kingdom. That's 7 hour. You don't listen, man. Listen, buddy. Listen. You are an amateur. You telepaths and you little bastards like you are amateurs. Now you in the big leagues. You see, you don't even know different levels of thought and different various types of thoughts. I understand all of this because God has empowered me to do it. Some thoughts come from the satanic kingdom. Yes, it does. You could go ask a real preacher. Do the satanic kingdom send thoughts to your brain? Okay then. So then if you got somebody that's a psychic or telepath reading those thoughts that the satanic kingdom is sending, how should you take responsibility for that? So as you have to acknowledge there's various different ways that thoughts pass through the mindset of a person. And if you're an amateur, you're going to get bodied playing with the wrong people. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an amateur at best. Now we broke your whole game up. Now I gave you, as the body of Christ, all the game you need to survive these psychological bastards. Take heed to it. You got everything you need to survive these lames. What I just told you just now. This is how you survive these little lames. Because that's all they are. You know what I'm saying? And don't think that these people that's judging your mind, don't think that they don't struggle. How you know it's because you're human. They struggle too. It doesn't mean, they got desire. I don't know what they got going. But they struggle psychologically in some type of way. We all do, whether you're sound of mind or not. You still gonna struggle to be the right person and choose the right thought process over what is being presented to you. Okay? Or just being a good guarded person, making sure you think properly. There's nothing wrong with that. You're pure. That's why you're thinking to think properly in the right way. You care about that. That makes you pure, that you even care. Some people don't even care about that. So when you find a person that cares to think properly, when I can show you people that don't, through the things they do, then I'm gonna respect the person that even cares about that. That's gonna show me purity right there. Because some people don't even care. What crossed their mind? No, they don't. Don't care what you think about it either. Will sit up and masturbate about children and think and lust after children and don't care nothing about what you think about it. Because how they gonna justify it is, well, I ain't doing nothing to children. I'm just doing it on my own. You got girls and women that do the same thing. Masturbate about children. They ain't gonna tell you that. It's common sense. You're in the real world, buddy. Everything that you can think about, people are doing. Including girls masturbating about children. For whatever reason, she got a sexual fetish for children. A girl. Oh, you don't think there's no girls that do? Well, they got fetish for children. They do. But who am I to say something or even if she told me this, what am I kill her? No, I ain't, who would do that? If she told me, oh, well, I got a little fetish for children. I'm just saying, this little teenage girl, let's just say it, she's like 14. She said, I got fetish for children. Like sexually, I'm like, okay. And all I can do is give her advice. Am I going to kill her because of that? No, I'm not going to kill her because of that. I'm sure it's girls out there that do that. But what I'm going to do? See, that's how we get people out stuck off retarded. They're stuck on retarded, bro. Like, it's okay to be guarded the right way and to make sure you're thinking properly according to the world that you live in and the dynamics of the world you live in. But woe to the jerk that sit up and try to interpret somebody's thoughts, man. You got a hell of a road in front of you, no pun intended. And you ain't fooling us because you are flawed in your mind, just like ain't nobody got a perfect mind. Even a psychologist would tell you, is her mind perfect as a psychologist? No, she gonna say my mind is not perfect. But I guarantee you, above everybody else, a psychologist, she learns to live with it. He or she learns to live with their imperfections. Even though she's not bipolar, schizophrenic, she still is not perfect in her mind. I'm telling you. And if you one of them human beings that can't accept your imperfections, you're going to drive yourself crazy. That's what's going to happen. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Because I know you're not perfect. How I know? Because I've mastered myself. Any man that masters himself have mastered everybody else. And I know how everybody else is. You know how I know? Because I've mastered my human nature. And your human nature has to be close to mine. So if I master myself, I've mastered humanity. And that's how I know that you ain't got no perfect thoughts. No, you don't. Because how I know? Because you're human, like me. And I've mastered myself. And if I've mastered myself, I've mastered you. And you ain't even got to tell me. I know you're not perfect. That's why we hate you the most that play around people's head, because you just like the rest of us. That's why we hate them. Because it's just a betrayal of humanity. Not just bro codes, it's a betrayal of humanity. Because we know you're imperfect like us. We know you trying to do the right thing and think the right way like the rest of us. And so that person somehow think they're not like that. That's what they think they're not, but they are. And they wind up destroying themselves. You know why? Because they can't live with being human. They can't live with being flawed and being imperfect. They can't live with it. I can. I don't have no problem with it. I don't have no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? But some people just can't live with it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they struggle. They crazy. They bugged out. That's why you can look at them and tell. You can look at them and tell, because their mind is off. Like, just they expect more of themselves. They expect themselves to be perfect. And the best people just learn to accept themselves as human beings, flaws and all. You know what I'm saying? You're going to navigate way better. And that person's going to be stuck on stupid, wondering why they're not perfect. So they're not even going to be able to navigate like the rest of us. They're just going to be stuck like on not being perfect. You know, so that's how it is, man. So I'm just keep coming back on it, man. Just keep talking about this stuff, man, because it's necessary, man. It's necessary. It's very necessary, man, because all the information I gave you sets you free from all these lame gang stalkers. Because their main niche is to try to play around you and your mind and make you feel guilty of something you're not doing. That's the main thing. That's the main thing they're going to trigger on, is trying to make you feel like you're guilty of pedophilia or racism or whatever they can get. Whatever they can get intellectually. Something crazy, whatever it is. It might not be nowhere true, but they try to trigger on it and trigger on it and trigger on it to you're convinced yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's why, it's just a matter of time for humanity to get rid of these people, because we don't consider them humans. If you don't act like a human, I mean, it's one thing to be kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? But if you are proactive with not acting human and you stay in that lane like it's cute, what happens is you set yourself up for extermination. You don't think humanity can be that weird, but we can. We can feel like you're aliens and we should just get rid of you. That's what's going to be happening. Because people are going to relate more to me than you. It's not, think about it. A person that talks about imperfections, especially as a Christian, people going to relate to that person more than this person that's sterile, trying to be perfect on every little thought and every little thing they do. No one's going to relate to that kind of person. No one wants to be them type of people. And they're not perfect. They're failing miserably anyway. Keep that in mind. That's why they always looking crazy all the time. Because they catching themselves at the same thing they trying to catch us at. They're catching themselves intellectually. Can you imagine that? They know they caught themselves based on these perfect standards. See, when you become a human, you didn't have a daddy to teach you. You learn to live with your human imperfections. You learn to live with it. You're not going to be perfect. Only God is perfect. You ain't going to be perfect. That's the bottom line. And you can think, well, I don't think nothing about children, but I guarantee you I can show you where you're not perfect. In any area, even with children, you ain't perfect. Not saying you're going to do something to children, but you're not perfect in that area. And you know it, don't you? Yeah. Welcome to the real world. Okay? Where we don't let robots and aliens hold us to perfect standards of living. God doesn't even do it. You think I'm gonna let these bozos do it? God don't even do that. God don't hold you to perfection. You can't be perfect. Okay, but you can put on more nature of God as a lifestyle. As the Bible says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. But that's explained through to understand that is to understand that you put on more of God and you put on perfection as you put on more of God. But that's a lifelong journey. You ain't gonna wake up one day and read that scripture and then become perfect. Nope, you're not. You're gonna put on the nature of God through understanding the word of God, and you're gonna put on perfection as a lifestyle. That's what it means. You ain't gonna wake up one day perfect, which means you're gonna still be imperfect. Paul says, why do I do the things I don't want to do, and the things I don't want to do, I do. Nevertheless, it's not me that's doing it, but it's sin in me that's doing it. Okay, that's Paul, and so you gotta understand, what I'm saying, half of us haven't lived up to the level of Paul, and that's what Paul was saying. That, what I'm saying, so you just gotta learn to live as a human being, progressing to become more spiritual every day. Okay? And anybody that interrupts that, God is going to destroy those type of people. Those retarded people, man. They're mutants. They're mutated intellectually. For where you can look at another man and then you know you're not perfect yourself. I don't do that as a Christian. I show you what's going to get you to the highest plane, which is heaven, and what's not. I show you rules and regulations. But do I judge your every thought and every movement? Who am I to do that? A Christian doesn't do that. If you find one doing that, that's abuse. That's a type of abuse. That's real. That's real. You shouldn't have anybody watching your every move and trying to see if your thoughts is right. That's abuse. That's a type of abuse. It is. You lead people to the scriptures, right? And you show them what it is. You know what I'm saying? But after that, who am I to sit back and watch your every move and everything like that? No, I'm not like that. Do God do that to us? Do you feel God is doing that to you? That's the bottom line. Do you feel God is doing that to you? No, He's not doing that to you. And where would you be if He did that to you? If He judged your every move, your every thought, and penalized you, every thought and every move, where would you be today? That's after becoming a Christian. Yeah. So if God ain't doing it, who is these other bozos to do it? That's the bottom line, bro. Like I told people in the past, I don't walk no tightrope for none of these suckers. I don't walk no tightrope for none of these suckers. Because see, what we gotta also learn to do is respect men as men. You know what I'm saying? That's how you gonna get. See, the Bible says a soul winner is wise. First thing you gotta first do is respect. Even if you're trying to tell him something about his life, first thing you gotta do is respect a man as a man first. He ain't gonna listen to nothing you gotta say if you don't respect him as a man. Who gonna respect you? You could be absolutely right, and he's not gonna respect you if your method does not respect his manhood, his adulthood. So see, only a man will be able to understand that. You know what I'm saying? I can come talk to you about Christ, but as a man, I'm talking to you as a man. You are still a man, even though you done wrong. But I'm gonna talk to you as a man. You understand? That's the man that's gonna respect me. He gonna be influenced by me. He ain't gonna be influenced by you because you just throwing stuff at him like he a boy. You know what I'm saying? And he done made his way through the world. He done survived like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And you done stuff like he done. You done been in his place before. And think about it. Use common sense and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Use wisdom. You got to talk to him like a man. You know what I'm saying? Before he could respect what you're talking about. So that's why you ain't gonna ever find me out here like these other people, man. You ain't gonna never find me out here like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't be bold in telling people what they're doing was wrong, but here's the catch. It gotta be the spirit of God behind it. If you just yelling and yelling and ain't no anointing on that and ain't no power on it, it's not going to penetrate the hearts of the people. You could say, you could be absolutely right. And listen, it ain't going to touch nobody. So see, when you see people in the Bible that was yelling and bold and everything, but the anointing with the power was there behind it. You know, and that real genuine passion, all of that too, man, to really help people and everything. And people can hear that, even though they know you saying what you saying, they can hear the passion, they can hear the sincerity, you know what I'm saying? They can hear that you're coming from a right place, even though you're being bold, you know what I'm saying? They can tell that you mean well, you know what I mean? Some people, man, they can pick up on it, man, you don't mean well, you know what I'm saying? You know, so you know, you gotta know what you're doing out here, bro. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what you're doing. But for those who don't play games with us, man, I take to tell you, boy, you got a hell of a road to go down. Because see, the wicked is a whole different situation. When we talking about the wicked is those, in one of my definitions, is those who operate in the satanic kingdom doing satanic operations. You got sinners and the wicked. Okay, the wicked operates in the satanic kingdom, whether directly or indirectly. And you can have a sinner that drinks and smokes weed and that's it. Then you can have the wicked that is in operations out here, using witchcraft or whatever, or doing all kind of illegal stuff. That's the wicked. Now you might have a sinner, somebody just sits home and smoke a blunt every night and drink and fall asleep on their couch every night. That's a sinner. The wicked is involved and active out here in the field for the satanic kingdom. And some of them people are not going to ever turn from their wicked ways and those wicked operations. So you got to discern the difference between sinners and the wicked. The wicked is going to be operating in the satanic kingdom. They know they're more times than not, they're very aware of what they're doing and who they work for. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be considered by God. Think about what I'm saying. Those who work directly in the satanic kingdom, they're going to be put in a different weight class as differently from the man that's smoking weed and drinking and falling asleep on his couch. That's all they're doing. You can find men like that. They work hard, they come home, drink a beer, smoke a blunt, and go to bed. Okay? That's all they do. He's not operating actively out here in the field in the satanic kingdom. Then you can find people that are working in witchcraft, using hoodoo and voodoo and Santeria or Obia or brujeria. You got the brujos and the brujas. You know what I'm saying? I know all about this. In voodoo, you got 4 different type of practitioners. Ones that practice one of the 4 elements: fire, earth, water, or air. They pray to Papa Leba, Blanc Donnie, and the Grand Zombie. That's voodoo. That's the 3 entities they pray to. Blanc Donnie, Papa Leba, and the Grand Zombie. Many Christians are not educated. You don't know what you're talking about. Voodoo is a denomination of witchcraft. It's not all witchcraft. And you got to know who's using what. If you see a certain ethnicity, you should, you know, especially a dominant ethnicity, you should know what type of witchcraft they're using. Then you know what styles and rituals they're using. Okay? With black people, what you call African Americans, they use hoodoo with an H. Many of you don't know that, which is called low country voodoo. They call it hoodoo. I come from North Carolina. That's what a lot of hoodoo is. I grew up hearing about hoodoo when I was a kid. That's why I'm not scared of it, because I came from the South. Man, it's witchcraft all in the South. I grew up hearing about all witchcraft as a kid, all the time. As a kid, a young heart kid. So think about me as a grown man getting spooked by when I'm from the South. You know what I mean? Hoodoo. That's what they use. That's what African Americans use. So if you see a whole bunch of black people and you think they're using witchcraft, they're going to be using hoodoo most likely. Okay? The Haitians use voodoo. And some Africans use voodoo. And you can find some black people that will use voodoo. But most of them gonna be attracted to black people here in America, what you call African Americans. They're gonna be attracted to hoodoo because it talks about the ancestors from slavery. So what you think they're gonna choose? To go with the ancestors from slavery, which is more connected to their lineage and bloodlines and everything like that, or go with voodoo or obeah? Most likely they're gonna go with hoodoo because of the connection with the ancestors, as opposed to the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans are going to use obeah because they're not going to be feeling the connection in the context of the hoodoo with the ancestors from West Africa, because that's where hoodoo came from, right? Okay, that's the origins of it. Okay, they're not going to feel connected to that. They're going to go with usually what is in their bloodlines, what in their culture. Better to say they're going to go with what's in their culture, which means they're going to go with obeah. O-B-E-A-H. Okay? Now, Hispanics and Latinos are going to go with brujeria. Right? The brujos or the men, and the brujas are the women. The witches and the warlocks. Okay? They do rituals and all that. I've seen them do. I mean, I checked out some real witches and warlocks. I seen some real warlocks do rituals and everything. You know what I'm saying? There's so much witchcraft in this situation, that in this war that we're going through. That's why it's gotta curse whole communities, and nobody wants to accept it. But that's what it is. You can't play no cartoon game using the whole community of witchcraft and think ain't nothing gonna happen to the community. That's common sense. You can't set up witchcraft against a prophet and then think ain't nothing gonna happen to the community sitting around watching to see what happens. They sitting around watching. Black people sitting around watching me, seeing what's gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. It's all gonna backfire. That's what it's doing now. Witchcraft backfiring is it going back to your community and them and your community. Okay, it's gonna go back to them. It's going to go back to their family, their kids. This is why, see, this right here is where it gets tricky. We're understanding the wicked. Back to the wicked. We acknowledge them differently than we acknowledge the guy that passes out smoking weed and alcohol, drinking alcohol, passing out, just working. You know what I'm saying? They two different animals. These people work in the satanic kingdom. Okay? They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They're not like some guy that grew up around alcoholics and weed smokers from the black community, and many of us do, and you just learn those habits from your family. So then you struggle with it most of your life, just based off that. That's a different situation. You know what I'm saying? Then you got people that work witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? And they know what they're doing. We approach them differently. Because once a witch is persistent in witchcraft, they must be put to death. You don't give them a free trial for 5 years. You don't give them a free trial for 5 years to work in the satanic kingdom against God's kingdom. So then, see, you're not really skilled. You're an amateur in your understanding between the sinner and the wicked and what your position should be. You shouldn't be sitting up praying for people for 5 years and they're using witchcraft against you. Shorter time than that. If people are concentrating using witchcraft, you do not sit up and pray for them. Now, for a sinner passing out from smoking weed and drinking, a pathetic drunk, okay, that's who you pray for. And if they come up against you, that's who you pray for. See, there's different calibers of enemies and different styles of enemies. Okay? The Bible says, suffer not a witch to live. It didn't say pray for him. It didn't say pray for the witch. It didn't say try to get them converted. Did it say that? No. It says suffer not a witch to live. It didn't say try to convert them first. That's what I'm saying. Because see, they're active in the satanic kingdom. They get a different outcome from God. He's not going to mobilize his people to just be praying. That's you in your flesh. That's what you think you should do as an evangelist. And you don't understand this war, and you don't understand the depths of what they're doing. And so you think you should just pray and you would hope they get saved. Okay, yeah, but they're active in the satanic kingdom. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. They done took all type of oaths and everything, and they're not turning around. Okay, they done all kind of stuff. They're just as deep in their satanic rituals as you are in serving God. That's how you got to look at it. They ain't gonna let it go. Most of them are not, and they gonna die like that. Okay, so you got to understand that some people are that dedicated. Okay, with that being said, if they're dedicated against you, you have to go to war and they have to be put to death. What you're now experiencing in America is a revival in witchcraft in the black community. No, listen, you didn't hear what I said. What you're experiencing now in America, specifically, is a revival in witchcraft in the black community. Because people are online, inquisitive about spirituality. Everybody's inquisitive about spirituality to a certain degree. So then what witchcraft is going to do is play on your curiosity with spirituality. See what I'm saying? That's the door. The door is going to be not necessarily I want to be a witch or a warlock. You're going to be inclined already to be inquisitive about spirituality. Everybody is, and they're going to play on that, and that's how many people that got into it these days. From the internet. They started from the internet, watching all these other witches and warlocks on the internet. And that's how they got started. It bred, what you need to understand is, the internet bred a whole new generation in revival in witchcraft in the black community. And they all ran to hoodoo. Okay? I know this. So they're everywhere. They're in packs, in hordes, since the internet. Okay, so it's not like back in the day. You got to tell Christians this, because sometimes they're out of touch. It's not like back in the day. You know what I mean? And you couldn't measure how many it is. And I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to give you a good idea of how many it is. It's based on the internet. So you see how much that is? Millions. Millions are into this. And it's a whole community. And so what you think they're going to do when they find out we are the biggest threats? It's going to get around that you as a Christian are the biggest threats against the witchcraft community. They got a witchcraft community. Okay, so then what you gonna do in a whole community of witchcraft that done had a revival through the internet, and they're all in packs and everything, communicating with each other. And you didn't realize that was the whole full magnitude of it. You think you're gonna just forgive and pray that away? You don't realize. How I know you don't realize the full magnitude of hoodoo in America, in the African American community, in the black community, is because you think you can forgive it and pray it away. You ain't gonna be able to do that, no. Especially now, they're too dedicated. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You think it's like, oh, I'll just cry and I'll just give it up. They're too deep, man. They're too deep. And I already know that. So see, I guess I realized the real full magnitude of it and how far it goes and how deep people are into that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And you might not realize that. You might just think this is just a misguided person. This is not no misguided person. These people are down with oaths to in witchcraft and doing all type of rituals, and they love it. You know what I'm saying? Because your human nature gonna be connected to spirituality. You gonna want to, and when you find some type of way to act out spiritually, you gonna love it. That's the truth. You gonna be into it, especially if you're getting results. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I understand things. I don't have to agree with it. I understand it. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, they're not gonna let it go, bro, like that. No. Now add drugs and everything else to that equation. Alcohol and all of that. Man, come on, bro. That's all I'm saying. What you need to hear is it's a whole witchcraft community. That's what you need to hear, bro. And we are the targets. And you gotta man up or woman up. You know what I'm saying? Women gotta put on your big girl drawers. You know what I'm saying? And dudes gotta man up. Because they ain't gonna give up. That's what I'm saying. They not gonna give up. It's the war is in a good place. The battlefield is in a very good place. But they're still not gonna give up. All of them. No, not all of them. With that being said, man, we realize they persisted in America as a whole community from the internet. That's what the keywords. Whole community from the internet. That's how far this has gone. Where you got young witches and teenage witches and all that kind of stuff. Young people out there using witchcraft against you. Okay? And that's how it is. It done got the little hip style to it, little hip hop stuff to it. They adding that in a little bit too. You know, little bit of street mentality into it. And that's what's making it do what it do. You know what I'm saying? That's what's keeping the battery in their bag. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, they gonna look at it like, even though we know they ain't street niggas, they gonna look at it like they street niggas. And they gonna keep going and they gonna keep, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So they gonna look at it like they rivals, Crips and Bloods, all kind of little stuff like that, which me, you know, I know it's not that, because I done been around real killers, people that done took people's lives for real, you know what I'm saying? So that's me, that's my story, you know what I'm saying? So I categorize things a little more accurately than me. You might think they're more of a threat than they really are. And I know they just really into witchcraft, they ain't really no killers, you know what I'm saying? So, but even with that being said, man, you know, you still can't think that you're gonna get a pass because you ain't no killer, you ain't no street person, but you using witchcraft against God's people. You gonna think that's innocent. It's not innocent. It's the worst thing you could do. Now religious people is what's all in people's head. Religion is not what we do. We do spirituality just like you. Now you see what I do. That's why many Christians can't jive with me. You know, you can't jive with me because you know, you got American Christianity, you know what I'm saying, where you just focused on being a good person morally, you know, and the spirituality is not there. You don't have any spirituality. Your spirituality is basically, I pray to God and he'll in a cliche way, not the prayers, but your perspective is cliche after it, that God will just do something. You know, God's gonna do what he wanna do. You know, I did a little prayer and God gonna take care of it. Nah, it don't work like that, bro. You gotta dig into the spiritual warfare to get what you need. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. It's because it's more resistance to getting what you need. There's a lot of demonic spirits that's trying to stop that. You gotta pray and fast and get through all of that and pray through all of that. You can't just say, well, you know, a God gonna give me what I need. Them type of people gonna get washed away, bro. You gotta dig into spiritual warfare. You know what I'm saying? Where it's beyond the witches and warlocks. You got layers of enemies. You know, you got to deal with them, and you got to deal with demonic spirits and principalities. You know, and the satanic kingdom that's trying to stop you by man. I'm telling you, man. That's why they don't even know we deal with so many different levels of warfare. By the time I met them, I was already ready because I already been through it. With the satanic kingdom, that's why it's nothing to me. The rejection, the games, all the crazy stuff going on, none of it is new. In so many ways, it's not new to me. Tragedies, none of it is new. When you really in this spiritual warfare, you get used to tragedies, all type of tragedies in your family, everything. You get used to it. And with that being said, man, you know, America's an enemy. America's an enemy. I mean, I hate to tell you, that's what it is. America is an enemy. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit here and not realize it, but they are part of these witchcraft community people. There's a link. They might not be totally into it like them, but there's an alliance to fight us. So the American officials and authorities are linked just enough with these witchcraft community people to fight us. They're linked to it, to the witchcraft community, to fight us. So they paying them probably and all of that. Yeah, of course. So you got to see how far this goes. Police into it, they part of the witchcraft community, all of that. See, what you need to realize is, because the preachers ain't gonna tell you, now you need somebody like me to show you how far this goes. Even if you know about gang stalking, you still don't know how far this goes. The main thing you need to hear how far this goes is it's a whole witchcraft community. That's really what you need to hear. Besides the secret societies, besides the police or whatever, you know, and the gang stalkers, you need to hear it's a witchcraft community, because even besides the gang stalker, they're going to be using witchcraft. You notice that? Especially if you're like me, I'm a homebody naturally, so it don't even bother me. I'm like a total homebody, but I'm also outgoing, obviously, because I'm here in New York. I'm not from New York, so you can see I'm obviously outgoing because I'm from out of town. You know what I'm saying? On all times, I'm usually from out of town. But if they perceive you to be a homebody, then they gonna concentrate witchcraft around you, because you ain't gonna be out here interacting with the gang stalkers. You're not interacting with the gang stalkers. So then what? That's not gonna work. That method ain't gonna work of them running you around playing psychological games until you come out. If you don't really do that a lot, they gonna concentrate gang stalking campaigns, which is a lot of sound campaigns with sirens and noise and children around your room and where you live, and they're gonna do a lot of sound campaigns around where you live. Okay, they're gonna do a lot of sound campaigns, and doors closing, people knocking on the walls, all kinds of stomping around, all that kind of stuff, because you ain't going nowhere. And then on top of that, they gonna use witchcraft all in the neighborhood that's around you. There's gonna be big witchcraft people all across the street, next door, on this side, that side, everywhere. All witchcraft people. If you live in a neighborhood and you're a high target, what we call, because they'll say targeted individuals. I'm gonna go beyond that. High targets, right? They're gonna concentrate way more against you because you a high target. It's one thing to be a targeted individual, which I might call a TI, and a high target. A high target is gonna get more warfare, more spiritual warfare. They're gonna have witches and warlocks, everything against you. Psychics, telepaths, all that, and the gang stalkers, and the culture on the internet and everything. They gonna weave your name into all these famous people. All these famous people gonna know about you. And see, if you tell your family, they gonna think you schizophrenic. Yeah, they gonna think you schizophrenic because you think famous people know who you are. You think the culture know who you are. If you're a high target, they know exactly who I am, and I know that. It's telltale signs. You know what I'm saying? It's telltale signs. You're African. I mean, I'm not saying you're the only, community that has high intuition, but you know, you're gonna have that street wisdom. You're gonna have that street intuition. Your huncher's gonna tell you, oh yeah, some other people know who I am. Trump knows who I am. All these rappers know who I am. I know that. Because of my results, because of how far I've gotten, and what I'm talking about too. That's what attracted everybody to me, because I started hitting on stuff and touching on stuff that really ain't nobody touching on. You know, it's particularly the child marriage laws, marrying children in America. That was my claim to fame. That's what got me up into the ranks of being known by these famous people in the community and everything like that. And just how much was being done to me too. You know, but that was because I moved around so much. But in so many people saw me, and I went through so many cities, that also made people take attention too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so you can clearly see, man, like that's why I try to tell these lames, I know exactly what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't know as much as I do, but I pay attention. And God shows me things. He shows me what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I see spiritual things. I'm a spiritual person. I see what y'all call orbs. You can go look up spiritual orbs. Lights, the little flashing lights, twinkles. I've been seeing them for a long time. You know, ringing in the ears, rumbling in the ears. And just for God's kingdom, spiritual manifestations and tragedies from being attacked. All that. Tragedies come with it. I'm not attacks, tragedies. When you're on this level, me being a prophet, I've seen tragedies. Like my brother, he just got shot and killed last year. Yeah, last year. Now, my brother got shot and killed last year, and he wasn't even a street dude. I think the gang stalkers sent them people to kill him. But could I ever convince my dad of that? Would I ever say that out of respect of not truly knowing and not injuring my father's conscience or feelings or anything about that? In wisdom, I wouldn't tell him unless he was open to the conversation and he started talking about it or some things, you know, and I could piggyback off of it and say what I think happened. But, you know, you can't, when it comes to like your family, if you're kind of young, you know what I'm saying, and you got like mom and dad, they ain't gonna understand gang stalking. But you still will need to tell them. Like I told my mom everything she needs to know about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because they gang stalking my family too, and that's why I'm offended. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm offended. Because I know whatever it is you telling other people you gang stalking me for, my mom couldn't be guilty of none of those things. So then why is she being gang stalked? Because she's an extension of me, that's why. So then that's why I take it personal, very personal. No pun intended. You know, I'm already taking it personal for the stuff that they're doing, particularly against me. But then when my mom is gang stalked, it's over, man. It's over. And instead of losing my mind, I just am concentrating all my energy towards destroying these people. That's how you gotta be. Because you're gonna find out eventually, if you got loved ones, they gang stalking your loved ones. And this is how you know. They gonna be complaining about the same things. That's how it's gonna start. With your woman, if you're a man, with your woman gonna be complaining about the same stuff. All these children coming out of nowhere, in public, that's the gang stalkers. And some people are ashamed to talk about it because you feel like you're doing something wrong or you're guilty by feeling this way. That they like it incriminates you to feel that people are using children against you, and so what's wrong with you for you to feel that way or think that way? But it's the truth, it's what it is. They've been weaponizing children against us. Okay, so it's what it is. And you gotta be tough enough to address the conversation. That's that. Okay? I don't feel guilty about talking about them using children, because what the insinuation is, well, you should just be normal. You should just act normal. That's what other people will say. Not even the people that's gang stalking you. Not necessarily even just them, limited to them. It could be other people saying, well, that's a normal situation. You should just be normal in that. Not if I feel that it's a setup. Not if God is telling me that's not right. That those children over there are in position against me. My intuition comes outside. My intuition comes outside. I come outside with intuition. You might leave yours at home. I don't. No, hold up, man. You might leave your discernment at home because you're not paying attention. You go outside with a whole different disposition, like it's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and you chilling and cool, and you just trying to like be nice and cool. Now you need to use your intuition. You need to go out there with your antennas up and with your head on the swivel. But more than the head on the swivel, you need to have your antennas up where your antennas is you paying attention. You picking up on what the real thing is going on. Listen, you listening too. Because the gang stalkers gonna tell on themselves all the time. They gonna be stupid enough to say something because they trying to trigger you. You know what I'm saying? They rather gamble with the damage of triggering you and then just not saying nothing. So they gonna say something to try to gamble to trigger you. You know what I'm saying? To make you paranoid, suicidal, whatever. They don't know when that's gonna happen. So they gonna always be trying to throw out sound bites when they walk past you or whatever. Just hoping they break you. Just hoping the last thing they say will break you or something. Okay? So in public, you're going to see people throwing children at you, everything. And some people too ashamed, especially the old school, they're going to be ashamed to talk about children being thrown in their path. And a younger generation like me, I'm going to talk about it. I don't feel guilty about it. I ain't doing nothing. You know? And they gonna be complaining, your family gonna be complaining about the same thing that you talk about. You know what I'm saying? Being followed in public, these weird occurrences when you go to the store, you know, lustful people, you know, just kids being weaponized against you, strange things with kids going on. They're gonna be talking about all of the things. The police is part of it. You know what I'm saying? The people at the stores, the merchants, the actual merchants, the store owners, they're part of it because the secret society's gonna come manipulate them and tell them whatever it is they trying to accuse you of to them. They gonna tell the merchants. So they gonna tell the merchants, for example, oh, you a pedophile. So the merchant's gonna have the idea when you come in the store that you're the person they was talking about and that you're a pedophile. They gonna inform them of that. And so when you go in there, it's going to be a whole psychological game. That's why when you go to the grocery store, it's a game. You go to the grocery store, you feel like it's you being watched and you can hear the people playing games in the store, right? Okay, so then what you ain't caught on to it? Well, how they know? Because they're using telepaths and psychics to go before you. So if you sit in your room and you're a high target, they going to watch your mind. And when you think, oh, I'm going to get ready to go to the grocery store, they're going to send people all out there because they heard you think about it. It took me time to realize all of this. This is wealth of knowledge. I'm telling you. You ain't going to get preachers to talk to you. They ain't going to go through no details like this because they ain't paying attention. They ain't paying attention. A lot of them are not paying attention, bro. You know? So then you got to listen to people that don't have no big old churches and no big old followers. They gonna be the ones, we gonna be the ones that's gonna help you navigate through this situation. So with that being said, you know, like when you go to the grocery store, all that stuff is in there. All that stuff is, why is it already like that? Because this is why. Because they already know you coming. How they know? This is what's gonna boggle your mind at first. How they even knew what I was coming to do? If you say you was gonna get certain cereal, why is they already over there with the cereal at? How did they know you was gonna go to get to the cereal aisle? How they gonna know you was going to the sugar aisle? How they know you was going to the ice cream aisle? Because they was looking at all your thoughts. So by the time you got there, they had it all set up to trigger you to play with you. That's all it was. That's why the main thing is the grocery store. They love gang stalking at the grocery store. Because they can use customers and the merchants and the people that at the checkout. They're going to be trying to curse your food, everything. They're going to use a witch to curse the food. That's why you got to pray over your food when you get it. They're trying to curse the food, the objects. That's perfect. Think about it. And for a witch to put something in your hand that she done touched, his or her hand, that's cursing it into your life. So they gonna put witches and warlocks at the checkouts. That's what it is, and that's every race. You don't let your guard down for nobody, because my philosophy is every race of people has witchcraft. The Chinese has woos, what we call woos, wizards, like Wu-Tang, as in Wu-Tang, woos. Woos are Chinese wizards. They got witchcraft too. They got wizards. They call them woos, W-U, woos. Okay, you got people from India, they got witchcraft too. Native Americans got witchcraft. The people that practice hoodoo take from some of the Native American practices of witchcraft. Every race of people have witchcraft. White people got Wicca, they got Wicca, New Age, and other various forms of pagan witchcraft. Okay? And like I said, black people using hoodoo, voodoo, and obeah. And you got the African witches from Africa. You got the white, the black, and the red witches. The red witches are the most deadly witches. You got red witches from Africa. You got the black witches, which is the malicious witches, which you're used to. The white witches are what people would say work white magic or whatever, kind of what you would say positive witchcraft energy or whatever. But we don't look at it that way. They're all witchcraft. But the worst is the red witches. You know, they're gonna be working on deadly witchcraft, more so than a black witch. That's by colors: black, white, red. You know, so I covered all of that witchcraft. That's why they can't get through. I done covered red witches, black witches, and white witches from Africa. You know what I'm saying? All the witchcraft in Nigeria and Cross River and all of that. I done covered all of that. Witchcraft back in Africa. Because I figured with a prophet, with me, God just gave me wisdom, because I felt like how these people operate, they gonna eventually go outside the country and try to get people to work witchcraft against me outside the country. Think about it. Once they seen how powerful I am, what they gonna do? They gonna go outside the country. They gonna go down to Jamaica or the islands or Africa to try to find some witch or warlock that can successfully curse you. So I beat them to it. You know what I'm saying? I've been fasting against witchcraft outside the country for years. That's why nothing is working, because I've covered it all. But see, the reason why they're getting the best of you is because you refuse to accept that it's a whole witchcraft community. It's what it is. Okay? So much so, something has to be done about it. Okay? Something has to be done about it. It's not going to be a matter of forgiveness or prayer. See, that's what you know. That's what you got to accept. Stop being religious. Stop trying to put your outcomes on this situation. Like I said in the beginning, let God's will be done. Stop trying to put your outcome on this situation. See, that's what the problem is with a lot of American Christians. Your problem is you're putting your outcome on this situation, and you should humble yourself and say, now, is that what God gonna do with all these people? Is we gonna be forgiving these people and then everything gonna work out? Or have they done so much that this is the end? Or just based on spiritual reciprocity, reaping your sowing, they got a lot to reap. And that's really what it is. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you gotta stop having that cliche religion where you think things gonna work out all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's sometimes it's just not gonna work out. Because they did too much. You know what I'm saying? It's no such thing as like us being like some community of kids and everything, and we just let these people just run over, or they act like kids and they can just run over us and do whatever they want to do, and then when they've had enough, they can just let it go. It ain't gonna work like that. And this is the reason why. Because people have to reap what they sow, man. That's it. if I can't convince you with no other way, everyone has to reap what they sow in this life, bro. So something has to come from that. It has to. You can't play you can't play around like that and then think, oh well, we're not gonna reap anything from it. And see, America's been used to avoiding karma through manipulation, not having to answer to nobody. This is how they got away with it. Because there was no legal system and there was nothing to hold them, to prosecute them. That's why they're trying to manipulate now. Their karma is heavy. You can see it because Pam Bondi is holding back information, which disgusts me. Because she be standing up there like she's super cop. Her and Trump. And then when it comes time for real justice, you know what I'm saying? You see that she's not really about that life. She's not really about real justice. And then see, that's part of that stinking funky American attitude. Where, you know, don't do as I do. Don't do as I say, don't do as I do. Do as I say, but don't do as I do. You know what I'm saying? That's the American way. Don't do it. Do as I say. Don't do as I do. You know what I'm saying? Don't do like me, but just do what I say. You know. I know I'm right. It's not arrogance. I know I'm right about this. You want everybody to do that. You know. You think you can play with people, and then nothing happens. But yet, let us do the same thing. We're animals. We monsters. You don't see this pattern in America yet? When you do the same thing, it's a different outcome. Now Pam Bondi is hiding. You know, and Trump is the one that made her do it. Trump is the one that made her do it. He the one that convinced her to do that. Because they already said something like it won't be good for somehow. Man, listen. But then everything else is good. Like playing with the prophet. That's good, though. That's good, though. Okay. Yeah. But it ain't good for them, huh? Come on, man. You can't listen, man. Like I told y'all dealing with white supremacy. That's what you're dealing with. White supremacy also is holding people to another standard. They hold themselves to another standard. That's another part of white supremacy too. Oh, they'll hold you to a whole another standard. But then you'll find out they doing all the stuff they talk about. And God had enough. See, the truth is, you're going to be like me months later from now. The prophet is always going to be ahead of everybody. That's just common sense. That's no pun intended, but I am. I'm going to give you prophecies ahead for the future. And I'm going to give you, the real prophet is going to give you a mentality for the future and an awareness of, in this context, an awareness of America for the future. How to approach America in the future. There are enemies in the future, and you don't accept it. That's why I'm already like this. I'm going to be ready first. I'm going to be like this first. And then you going to be like it later. Okay? And then you're going to be like, we should have listened to them. Yep, should listen to them. They're already saying it now. They're already saying it. We should have listened to them. I told you, man. I told you. These people have a reputation for doing the same thing that they telling you shouldn't be doing. A reputation for doing that. And then you find out they marrying children and it's over. That's all they had to do. They did everything else. They done killed black people. They done everything, racist and all of that. And then we find out they marrying children, it's over. You did everything, bro. You did everything. That's that. You did everything claimed to a man's imagination because you didn't have to be accountable to nobody. The only reason America was successful, militarily speaking, is because they was covered on water on both sides. and down in the Caribbean at the bottom, at the south part too, most of them. You know, they got Puerto Rico, and that was it. They keep their eyes on Cuba, and we know that. But, you know, they had no real enemies because they was covered by water. That's the only reason they haven't been invaded and overthrown. Because every other country has to deal with land invasions like an army. You know? They have to deal with land invasions, being covered on all sides by different countries. America didn't have to deal with invasions. That's the only reason they're powerful as they are, because it's basically an island country. Basically. Anybody that's really militant minded knows the only reason this country was successful was because they were covered on water on both sides. That's why they didn't have any invasions. But they'll act like it's because they're so bad and tough, man. Eventually somebody would have invaded you, bro. Eventually. That's just what comes with it. If somebody's going to invade you, if you covered by countries on every single side, north, south, east, west, somebody's going to invade you. The only reason America has been like safe this whole time is because they've been covered on the east coast and the west coast with water. It's a perfect country if you look at it. That's why. Then you look anywhere else and no one else is like that. It's a country, not a continent, that's covered on water with both sides. Ocean. That's the only reason it happened. They flatter themselves and act like it was because of their own might. No, it wasn't. It's because you was covered on water this whole time. If you had countries, all these different kind of countries up and down the East Coast, because on each coast, like the East Coast, you're going to have countries and countries and countries all the way down. Not just one big country in most cases. You're going to have a whole bunch of countries going from New York all the way down to Florida. Ain't no way in the world none of them countries ain't going to invade you. Then around the bottom where Florida is at, in the Gulf of Mexico and all over there, and then if you had some on the West Coast, countries all that on that side, you would have been invaded. You would have had so many different styles of America if there hadn't been land on all sides, because we would have been invaded so much. It would have been more ethnicities too. Mm-hmm. You think it's colorful now? Oh, it would have been real colorful if we had all these if we had countries up and down the East Coast and West Coast. So that's the only reason they really were not held accountable to nobody. Because you was like an island away from the old world in the new world. And the old world was just consumed with itself, if that makes sense. Meanwhile, the new world was striving by itself. That's how they won. They got a hold of Mexico, they got a hold of Cuba and Puerto Rico, and then the islands was no competition. That's what it was. But now, guess what happened? They fought against the kingdom of God, and it's over. You can't, that's it. You can't fight against the kingdom of God, buddy. You don't know what it is, do you? The kingdom of God is everywhere. You fought against the kingdom of God, buddy. It's over. You can't fight against the kingdom of God and think it's all good. They fought against the kingdom of God, it's over. Because God, one thing you don't do is compete with God. When you compete with God, God gonna fight you right back, buddy. See, now I need soldiers to understand They're the enemy, right? Don't be afraid. It's deeper than gang stalking. I know you want this war to be limited to gang stalking, but it's not. The Americans are involved. Okay? The American community is involved. That's how you need to hear it. And see, many of you gonna freeze up and get scared because it's real war. You gotta really understand, bro. Ain't nothing we can do about a man using his free will to do what he wants to do. It's white entitlement. That's what it is. It's driven by white people, white Americans. Black people started it, as far as I go. They did, because they listened to my brother, they listened to North Carolina, and they went with them. Okay? They went with my brother, and they went with the black Freemasons and all the black Illuminati or whatever. They went with all those people, and everybody else with them, or some other little group of black people. They went with all them people, and then they realized that I don't die, because I'm real. You know, I ain't gonna die. You was living in the cartoon world thinking I was gonna die, and I didn't. And you see, I'm built to last. Okay? Now, they reneging on their position, and that's not my fault. So now I look realer than the streets, because the streets was watching too. Okay, so how I ain't realer than you? You play the bozo's position. So then, after all, like I've always said, God's kingdom is above all kingdoms. Even the streets. The street kingdom, what I call the street kingdom. I probably coined that term in the context that I talk about it. The street kingdom is beneath God's kingdom. That's all the criminal underworld and the thugs and the gangsters. They beneath us. At the end of the day, they still civilians like everybody else. They're still subject to what the Americans do and the wars they started with other countries. The thugs and gangsters ain't gonna rise up and do nothing. You're gonna be just running around. That's all you're gonna be doing. We the only ones that can change this situation. Thugs and gangsters, that's why they know their position. They ain't really tripping. It's these witchcraft people that's living in this Peter Pan world, you know? Dang, I don't know where they thinking they going with this. Peter Pan, bro. That's why I don't talk too much about gangsters and thugs, because I know how they think. They ain't gonna play theyself coming out here playing with no Christians. It ain't a matter of being scared. It's a suicide. That's what it is. And now you see that. The thug know better. A gangster know better than that. He know he ain't coming out here if not for any other reason, because you know karma is real. A thug knows karma is real. Bottom line, you ain't finna come out here and create no bad karma playing around no black man and he a Christian and these Christians out here. It ain't nothing but them Ozzy Osbourne influenced people, influenced by them rock and roll people. Thinking they Marilyn Manson or Ozzy Osbourne or Rob Zombie. You think you White Zombie or something. That's all it is. And that's music. Just like black people listening to Tupac and all them rappers. And then you come in the real world and you realize you listen, you get smashed. You get smashed in the real world. Coming out here trying to be like Pac. It's the same thing, man. People coming out here trying to be like Rob Zombie, you got smashed, bro. I don't care if you're black or white. I know that's the energy. You came out here like Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, or something like that. You got smashed. No different than people that come out here trying to be Pac. No different than people trying to come out here and be Tupac. It's no different. You find out the hard way, even with Pac. You see what happened to him. You see what happened to him. You can't come out here in the streets, man. You know what I'm saying? The streets is a whole different element from the music industry in the street, these famous people. It's the jungle. That's the best way to look at it. The wild. You can't come out here in the wild plant because you why? Because you're a rapper. No one cares. And it applies to these secret societies too. They thought nobody cares who you are. You out here in the wild, buddy. You out here in the wild. Nobody cares, bro. I don't care nothing about no secret society. That's what I'm saying. They just as goofy as a rapper coming out here in the community. And what's the difference? It's all about fame. It's all about who they think they are. And they come out here and get smashed. That's what happened. It's just another cautionary tale. They coming out here in the hood, coming out here in the streets, bad politics, putting bad politics on people's name, bruh. And then now you don't know how to do. You don't know what you need to. You don't know what to do about it. You don't know what to do about it now. That's all I'm saying. You know, you can't come out here in this hood. You can't come out here in the streets like that. God doesn't play any games. You play with the street, God's kingdom, it's over. It's absolutely over. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and I'm going to make this very clear once again. What's going to happen is God is going to shut down the systems of this country, which means all the systems. And that's probably how, if God wants it to happen, how the New World Order is going to happen. Because all the system of America is going to be shut down. It's going to hold all the systems. That's the money system, that's the government, that's the food stamps. All of this is going to be shut down. That's the big surprise shock that most likely, I know this is going to happen. It's prophecy. These systems are going to be shut down, which means something really, 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 really bad is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be another COVID, another pandemic that's going to shut down the system, or something else. I don't know. See, I pride myself on saying I don't know as a prophet, because I don't make no mistakes coming out here trying to fake prophesy and all that stuff. You ain't gonna ever see me make those mistakes. I give prophecies when I'm supposed to. I walk away. If I don't get a prophecy in a whole year, I'm not gonna say something just to stay relevant as a prophet. Okay? I'm not gonna say nothing to just stay relevant. I promise you that. If I say something, write something down, you can take that to the bank. You can take it to the bank, buddy. See, this is how I stay clean as a prophet. I don't be trying to prophesy out here every day and every week and every month. See, that's what you thought I was gonna be doing. Nope. I get prophecy. As I get the prophecies. Whenever I do, that's when I will say them. I will write them down and I will tell you about them. Other than that, you ain't gonna see me every day, all the time, talking about some prophecy. No. It's not my operation. It's God's operation. And that's how I treat it. That's how I treat it. When something really, really comes across my mind, for whatever reason, that's what I write and I walk away. That's how you stay good and clean. But you know, I'd rather be a person that didn't say enough than said too much. That's what kind of prophet I'd rather be. I'd rather be a person that didn't say enough, but I could have said more, or God could have said more through me than a person that said so much. God wasn't even saying nothing. It was you. You was making up false prophecies. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna never find me be that type of person. I pride myself on that. You ain't gonna ever see me be sitting back here talking about some stuff and you know, something just came out of my head. Nah. Okay? So it's already a prophecy that the systems of America is going to be shut down. And you can see with this present administration, is very highly likely that that could happen. It's going to happen. That's because of all the stuff they've been doing. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. You don't want to play, you don't want to box with God, buddy. His arm's too long, buddy. You can't box with God, buddy. God, boom, 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 get back. Boom, 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 boom. You're going to be like a drunk woman. I'm going to get you. You ever seen a drunk woman keep getting knocked down? She keep getting back up. You like a drunk whore keeping getting back up, man. It don't mean you tough. You just look ridiculous, pathetic. You can't box with God, buddy. You could try all this stuff, set up all this corny stuff. That's what we know you did with me. You set up all this corny stuff, and it's being humiliated as I speak. You know how it's being humiliated? Because the whole world is being shut down. You ain't gonna have no world to live in. You don't get it, do you, little dummy? You're not gonna have a world to live in. Clear enough? You're not gonna have a world to live in, bro. We already come to terms with it. We're willing to sacrifice our lives just so you die. That's how bad we want you, buddy. We're all willing to die to let you die. Which means we're willing to let go of the world just so you die. That's how dedicated we got. That's how bad we want you dead. All these secret societies, all these witchcraft people, that's how bad we want you dead. We're willing to sacrifice our lives and dreams so that you die. You think I want to die? You think I want to let all the world go and let the world go away? You know, no, I don't. That's what makes us all angry. But we're so focused on you dying that you gotta go. And it don't matter about the future and what we got planned for the future. No, it don't matter no more. See, you didn't know how far this could go. You know how far this thing went? We are willing to sacrifice our dreams and hopes and futures for you to be dead. That's how far it went. Which means we're just shutting it down. We're just shutting down. We want you to cease from existing. So now you get it, dummy. You sitting around looking around thinking everything all good. Looked at the news lately? Check out the news lately? Did you check out the news lately? Did you check out the news lately? It ain't looking good out there, buddy. It's not looking chipper out there. Chipper. It's not chipper out there, is it? Is it chipper? Is it chipper out there? Well, that's working to our advantage. We're willing to sacrifice our lives as a whole community for you to die. Now you know. We don't care. You've done so much to the community. You deserve to die, and I don't care if the whole world ends. We want you dead. We want God to kill you. And it's going to take these systems. That's how far we got to sacrifice for these systems to be shut down. Okay? We shut down the systems. America is nothing. So you just got to set your soul and heart to say, once again, not my will, not our will, but God's will be done. Listen, I would love to live another 20, 30 years and get married again, and be with a woman and be cooking and having fun and everything. The simple things of life, that's all I would want. But they gotta die. That's all there is to it. I feel like they disrespected God's kingdom. They ain't just disrespect us. So you gotta look at that. And like I said, God's will be done. Because once they start disrespecting God's kingdom, that's beyond you. It's not about just you. That's why American Christians have to be very careful with prophesying things according to your flesh. Talking about America doing this and America. No. You need to think about this. I'm going to put this on your mind. They disrespected God's kingdom. That's a little bit, that's above you as a preacher or a Christian. So you're not going to be able to call it, man. That's how else can I say it? You're not going to be able to call it this time. You ain't going to be able to pray. You ain't going to be able to fast. You ain't going to be able to get out of it. They ain't going to be able to get out of this. They disrespected God's kingdom, bro. And now they trying to renege on it. They don't make it right. They ain't gonna be able to make it right with all of us. And so it don't matter if they make it right with some Christians. They ain't gonna make it right with all the Christians that they disrespected. They just going to the key ones that's in the community. That's the ones they talking to. These famous preachers, most likely. They not making it right with us. So what difference does it make? They not making it right with you and me. But they going to TD Jakes. That ain't gonna work. TD Jakes ain't gonna be able to pull you out of this one, buddy. That's all they doing, running to TD Jakes. So what? Bishop TD Jakes can't pull you out of this. If he probably don't even know the full magnitude of what's been going on. He listening to it from the ignorant black people. They telling him what happened. And he don't know all this stuff that has happened. So then ain't no need to act like he can't counsel you if you ain't told him all what happened. All the stuff that's been done to us, all the stuff that's been done to Christians that you think you got away with, go tell him that. You ain't gonna do it. Of course you ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna tell him all that's been done to Christians. No, you ain't gonna do it. So then it ain't even no need to talk about it. It really isn't. I'm just covering it though. It don't matter who you talk to because you ain't gonna talk to them all the way anyway. And it's gonna be God's will done, not TD Jakes' will. Not my will and not your will. And see, right there is where you gotta understand you can't manipulate. Okay? No, you can't manipulate, buddy. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how much you love the Lord. You're not gonna be able to manipulate because of your love for God and you think that's gonna help. Nope. It ain't gonna do nothing. They did too much, and it's time to pay the piper, and that's all there is to it. It's time to pay the piper. Okay? Ain't nothing I can do. It's nothing nobody can do. And like I said, I would love to live another 20, 30 years and get married again and everything, and maybe even have some kids, maybe. You know, but look, I gotta look at, once they start disrespecting God's kingdom, it's over. It's a lost cause also for this country to continue after that. It's disgusting in the nostrils of God for them to live after all of this stuff. Yeah, no. Sorry. The systems are going to be shut down in America. Okay? I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't put out dates like I'm Nostradamus. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to happen though. And it makes perfect sense according to prophecy, because once the systems are shut down, then for America to survive, they will have to join all the other countries to join a one world government. America's not going to willingly join no one world government. So then what has to happen for them to join the one world government? The whole country has to be shut down. And then out of desperation, they join the one world government. See how it makes sense? Because in order for there to be a one world government, America has to be destroyed. It has to happen. Either way it go, little buddy. Because America, especially these Texans down in Texas, they ain't gonna give up their sovereignty to another country. You think about these savvy old sellout New Yorkers. But these Texans is the perfect example. They're not giving over their sovereignty to no other country. And they on top of all these other countries for evil reasons. They're not gonna do it. So how you gonna get all the country, all these people, all these patriots to give up their sovereignty over the whole world? Mind you, this is the superpower, right? It ain't like it's just another rinky-dink country. Imagine them giving up all their sovereignty to join the world. Not even for evil people would do that here. Not even for evil reasons. You just been thinking about, well, they're gonna do it for evil reasons. Who? All these Texans and all these rednecks? They gonna give up all their power in the community to join the rest of the world and be just like on the same level of power as the rest of the world? No. So how's it gonna happen? Most likely, America has to be pathetically destroyed, and out of desperation, they join the rest of the world to just survive. Now, doesn't that make sense? That the one world government would be formed with the destruction of America. Now it ain't nothing left. Think about it. And you might as well conclude, add in addition to America, other countries being destroyed. A whole bunch of countries. And out of desperation, they all join together. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, buddy. Because the older I got, I started to think, America ain't gonna give up their authority to join no one world government. And they got all this power over all these other countries. And I'ma just give it up because I want to be evil. You tripping. They ain't gonna do that. That's where evil don't make no sense. Because power is above evil in this case. If you got power, you ain't gonna give up power for evil. To do some evil plan, no, the greatest evil is power. Make sense? Now imagine them giving that up to do another evil thing. It doesn't make sense, buddy. You know what makes sense? You know what makes sense? This country is going to be so destroyed with no systems that they join the one world government to survive. They going to let it all go. They ain't going to have nothing. Out of desperation, they going to do that to just survive. Makes perfect sense. They won't be the only country destroyed, and they all join together out of desperation. So you thought they was going to join together out of evil. How you feel now? They're going to join together out of desperation. Think about it. It don't make sense that they going to just do, because the highest level of evil is power. Ain't nobody going to say, that's in America, well, we're going to give up our power to make a evil one world government. Some people will be dedicated to it, not all people. And some people going to say, no, we ain't going with, no, we got power over the whole world. Why we going to join with these other people? With every other country, and then we all in one government? No, we ain't doing that. And we can't even agree on certain, no, can you imagine that? That's what they're going to be saying. Can you imagine all the world together in one government? No way in the world. That's got to be out of total desperation. That's how bad it's going to be. I think now if it's so much desperation. Yeah. Now they want to join a one world government to survive. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm not saying that's prophecy. That's just what I think might happen. Because you ain't gonna get all these people down in Texas to talk about some one world government, bro. or we doing it for some evil cause? No. They gonna feel like our evil cause can be done without doing that. You ain't thinking, man. They can do their evil cause without that. That's how they gonna say it. Nah, we can do all that stuff. All that stuff y'all want to do, we can do that right here. And if we can't do it right here, we don't need to do it. That's how they gonna look at it. If we can't do it right here, we don't want to do it. That's telling us we don't need to do it. We got to go all out here with all these other people. Nah, we don't need to do that, buddy. So then, what's going to make it happen? All the systems going to be shut down. All this going to be gone. And then then you're going to be willing to join together. That's the only thing that makes sense, which puts it right in sync with the prophecy that I'm telling you that I have, that these systems are going to be shut down. And I didn't even try to put it together like that, just in case you thought I did. You know what I'm saying? These systems are going to be shut down. It makes perfect sense. If God wants a one world government to happen, then it will happen. But I believe that God is sovereign to do whatever he wants to do. He's not subject to not even prophecy. If he wants to change his mind, he can change his mind. And what you're going to say is, well, every word that proceed out the mouth of God must come to pass. If he wants it to come to pass, it's still going to be the ultimate conclusion. If he wants that to happen, if he wants it to be the mark of the beast, if he wants a one world government, it happens if he wants it to. Now that's understanding the sovereignty of God. Even with prophecy and everything you read, God can say, I don't want it to happen. He couldn't. Who's going to stop him? So that's what I see. That's understanding God. Above everything you done read, above everything, you understand God. And some of y'all don't understand God. God can change his mind. Okay? Now, like I said, I do believe this system is going to be shut down. It has to be, bro. It has to be. It has to be, man. It just, you can see it. You know, it's not going to last no matter what they do, man, because it's going to be stuff that we don't understand. It's going to be some other stuff that's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to be other stuff that y'all need to prepare for right now that you ain't thinking about. You done got comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable. You need to get ready because it's some stuff that's going to happen, man, that's out of your hands. Glory to Yahweh. It's going to be some stuff that's out of your hands. You know? And then that's what I'm saying about these witches and warlocks. Where they going to be? Looking stupid. That's where they going to be. Well, where they going to be? And looking stupid. That's where they going to be. Well, looking stupid is not a place. Well, it's a place for them. It's a location for them. Well, where they going to be? Looking stupid. That's where they going to be. All these witchcraft people ain't going to be able to do nothing. You ain't going to have no effect on nothing, buddy. You're going to see you have nothing going on. I already know that. You're going to see it, though. You're going to see it coming in the days ahead, buddy. You're going to be subject to all this foolishness. You're going to be subject to war like the rest of us. You listen. You walking around like you're high and mighty, man. Listen, when these systems get shut down, what is a witch gonna do? Nothing. You ain't got no food. You doomed, buddy. You ain't gonna be doing nothing. You're gonna be sitting around screaming and hollering at the moon, probably. Literally. Out here screaming at the moon. That's all you're gonna be doing. You are just gonna be another civilian. That's all you're gonna be. That's all you're gonna be, buddy. You're gonna be out here struggling like the rest of us. I'm telling you, man. You'll see. You'll see. Cause I definitely know that these systems are going to be shut down. I believe the prophecy. It's going to be shut down. These systems are going to be shut down in America, and people are going to be sitting around looking goofy. Sad. It's sad, man. They shouldn't see. With so much freedom in this country, y'all just let these people out here run wild and do whatever they wanted to do. It's no secret that these secret societies was a catalyst for destroying this country. All that running around, man, that's what did it. You can't play around here like that, man, in the world, in the real world we live in. See, these clowns thought they would do something innovative and cool. Some new innovative thing. Like a video game. Well, this is like an innovative video game, okay? Do you feel like it's an innovative game now? All these wars going on. Casualties are everywhere around the world. Ain't no way in the world you can think that this world is gonna go back to normal. You gotta be smoking crack, man. You gotta be on crack. Ain't no way in the world you could think that this country gonna go back to normal. Normal? What's normal in 2026? What's normal? What they gonna go back to with all this stuff that done happened? I'm telling you, man, like, this is where, man, people don't realize their limitations, man. You know, you're just a human being, bro. You know what I'm saying? You could be touched just like everybody else. These secret societies, they so gassed, it don't even make no sense. I mean, super gassed. Super gassed, bro. You know, that's why, I stay down to earth, man. Even though God gave me a beautiful position, you know what I'm saying? I stay down to earth. I don't make the mistakes that Satan made, Lucifer made. You know what I'm saying? Lifting yourself up too high. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a mighty, mighty fall, man. You know what I'm saying? The more powerful you get, the more humble you got to become. You got to become more humble and more humble. Not just humble like you was in 2005. You got to become more humble. You got to pay attention to yourself, and you got to be more humble. You know what I'm saying? In order to get more power from God, and to stay in the position that he got you in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making that mistake. I know I'm just a man. I know I'm just a human. See, that's why God is always with me. Because why you think, because I talk bold and I'm a soldier, I'm supposed to sound off. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, I stay down to earth. You know, I don't never do stuff that don't make it seem like I'm above the humanity. I played my position against all this stuff that has happened. This had to happen. I had to cover the whole community. I had to. All this stuff going on, I had to do that. It ain't gonna make no sense trying to pick who's doing what out of all of this stuff. It's the community. That's how you're gonna look at it. That's how you're gonna address it spiritually. It's the community, and I ain't gonna sit around here and pick this person out of the crowd and that person out. I'm not doing that. I'm a dude what a wise war tactician would do. I'm covering my bases. I'm covering the whole community. I ain't sitting here. I see all of this going on. You think I'm gonna pick who pick somebody out of that? You wouldn't do that either. I ain't picking nobody out of that. I see all these people and all that stuff going on. I ain't picking nobody out of it. I'm just covering the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So, this is like, but I stay humble, man. You know what I'm saying? And stay in my position. I stay down to earth as a human being down here on earth. You know what I'm saying? That's how you gotta stay.